Go flat tracker. Go flat tracker. Go, go, go. Go flat tracker. Go flat tracker. Go, go, go. Go flat tracker. Go flat tracker. Go, go.
The Clever Flat Track Pod is brought to you by our partners 193 Racing, MX Inc., Classic Wheel Spokes and Otway Hydro Blasting, Rider Sport, Euroka Fencing, and of course, Clever Flat Track products. They support us, so go support them. Now on to the episode. Go Flat Tracker.
All right, so here we are. Welcome to another The Clever Flat Track podcast. Myself, Tom Northey, and we've got Mick Kirkness in the chair tonight. He's not sure if it's a podcast or a roast, so it should be interesting. Yeah, we've been wanting to get Mick on for a while. I think we've sort of half teed it up a couple of times, Mick. Just apologising to everyone. My internet's decided to do what it has done in the past every now and then. So if I'm in and out, Tom's agreed to take over. So you might just hear lots of Mick and Tom talking tonight. But I just told Mick a whole lot of bullshit off here, and now I'm just going to go back on it all. And I just remembered we do have a few overseas viewers and listeners. And I think there might be a couple of people in Australia that don't know much about you. So just a real quick briefing on some of your past achievements in racing and what sort of racing you've done here in Australia and abroad.
So basically,
you, Mick, if you don't mind.
Yeah, basically just motorcycles and racing sort of been in the family blood pool since forever. My pop raced back in the day, and my dad raced, and it was just sort of inevitable that we'd ride bikes and maybe race or whatever. Started out a bit later than normal, probably 12 or so years old. Dog shit to start with, so bad, so slow. Would get lapped at club days. And just sort of steadily progressed. We'd race motocross, and back then our club used to run these trials type events where you do like an enduro race, basically, but a little trial section, and we'd just ride anything, basically just loved bikes and loved riding and racing, and it all just started from there. Started getting a little better at club days and stuff. We'd travel and do a few open meetings once a month or so, and then it became where we'd just travel and race everything that we could, basically on the east coast pretty well. And then moved down to Cessnock and worked for Chris Watson, who was obviously a very established, known dirt track guy, and we had some good bikes with him, and sort of started getting better and better. And the American thing was always like a pipe dream, I would say, just because, I grew up as a kid watching it any Sunday. I could recite that thing before I went to school. And it was always like we'd go race in America, blah, blah. Never, ever actually thought it would ever happen. And then, one thing led to another, man, and the internet was invented, and we started making some emails and whatever else and blah, blah. And it eventuated to end up ringing Travis Smith, who was the head mechanic guy of the Suzuki team at the time. And just by chance, he answered the phone, which he never has since or before. And he'd had a half a dozen beers, and he's like, "Come on, man, let's go race some motorcycles." So over we went, and that was the beginning of the end, basically.
Yeah, right. So did they know much about you, or did you talk yourself up, or
nah,
what made them say, "Yeah, come over"?
They didn't have a clue, and being Americans too, man, they don't give a shit about what anyone else in the world's doing, because they're the greatest and they're doing what they're doing, and that's all that matters. And I just got lucky that I got Travis this night, and I just said, I was like, I'd won the 252 stroke Aussie championship back then, and I'm like, I'm national champion in Australia, blah blah. I want to come over there and do some racing, and there was no emails backwards and forwards of racing accolades or anything. Literally, dude, I got him on the phone that night, and he was like, "Get a ticket, come on." That was the whole thing. It was pretty unbelievable. Yeah,
awesome. So you went over, I'm assuming you went over pretty blind to what you were walking into.
No clue. So basically the thing that reignited it was, I don't know if you know Miriam Dytra. She was doing race reports and stuff for the AMA dirt track stuff. She came in, she was Flat Track Live. She'd done the Bayless Classic and stuff a couple of years, and she wrote an article for Road Racer X magazine on Henry Wiles at Peoria TT. And for some reason, that magazine was on the shelf in War Hope News Agency, and I got it and flicked through it and sent this dirt track thing, and I'm flicking through the photos, and half of them were wearing full face helmets and, no front mud guards and them stupid big front plates they run over there. I'm like, man, I can beat these dudes in dirt bike race. Come on. So that was sort of what sparked it again. And then little did I know just how fast they actually were when I got
there. Yeah, I actually haven't met Miriam. We have emailed once, and that was ages ago. I know she's living over here somewhere, but yeah, if you're listening, Miriam, get back to me, and we'll love to hear her story as well. I know it's a pretty good one. Yeah, well, that's pretty interesting. So was the 250 Aussie title the only one you had before you went over there, or had you had more?
Yeah,
Were you still
no, that was
No,
it.
you must have just gone senior, had you?
Yeah, I was
right.
19 when I went, or 20. I was 20 when I went the first time. Yeah, no, I'd only won the one. We'd placed in a few 450s and 250s and whatever, but I'd only won the one before I went.
Yeah, righto. All right, Tom, fire away. I know you've got some things up your sleeve.
Oh, mate, no.
Look at him sitting there like a stunned
I was going to write a list. I thought I'd remember it all off the top of my head. But how did you go with adapting to the tyre change, considering obviously they run 19s and not many people here did? I think actually they might have they doing a bit in the 80s, I think they did, with hard oil tracks. But, yeah, how familiar were we with their setup?
So basically, like there's photos and stuff of Kevin Horton and I think Kazo back in the 80s, like you said, running some 19 stuff. But when Luke and I first went to go over, I don't know if he had, but man, I hadn't ever ridden on one. I hadn't even seen one really. Like, we had absolutely no testing or riding on any of that stuff before we got there. And I would run full height motorbikes back then too. And we get over there and they're low at 100 mil and no front brake and, giant big heavy wheels. And it was honestly such a eye-opening, game-changing experience. We come from pretty small town guys, whatever, and we get there, land in St. Louis. The team owner Dave Burks picks us up at the airport, drops us off in Jeff City at this nice motel. He's like, "Here you go, boys. We'll see you in the morning, whatever. No dramas." And it was the week between. It was the week between Castle Rock short track and TT double header, and then the next round was Peoria TT. So heaps of the guys are traveling back from the West Coast, and they're staying in that area because the next weekend is the race in that area, So we get a taxi from the hotel we're staying in out to the had to rent this car. Me and Dad rent this car. No clue how to drive it. Wrong side of the road. No idea where we're going. Steering wheel on the wrong side, man. Like so crazy it seems at the time. And anyway, we get back to where we needed to go because I had the address off the internet, and we could have walked there from where we were staying anyway. And there's like the Suzuki big truck, and Brian Smith was in a truck at the time, and Coolbeth was in a truck at the time, and all these factory.
Heavy hitters,
Yeah, man. There was like 4 or 5 trucks there, and all the pro guys, Coolbeth and Jake Johnson and Kevin Varnes, and all the guys there, And it's like, man, we've died and gone to dirt track heaven. This shit is unbelievable. So that was our first ever sort of experience of it or seeing it. Like it was unbelievable. Yeah.
So you and Goffy went over.
And what year was that?
The same time. Did you call each other and say, "Oi, I want to go to America. Do you want to come along with us?" Or did it just you went the same time as he went?
Yeah, basically that's how it went, man. Goffy was going and I was going, and I don't think we even spoke before our first trip of going. I don't think I even knew he was going. I don't recall. The following year we went back to stay. His mum had gave me a couple of hands with the visa thing and stuff like that. But before that first trip, I don't think either of us even knew the other was going.
Yeah, right.
And I'm pretty sure that was I think it was 06, the first year we went. I'm sure it was 06.
Yeah. So I'm trying to think 2012 is when he did his hip at Peoria. I think around about was that. That was the last time he went. I just remember the stories, but I never asked him if you and him sort of nutted heads and went, "Oh, let's both go over," because I do vaguely remember him saying, I said, "Oh, were you near where Kirkness was?" He goes, "I didn't even know he was there half the time."
Nah.
Like, oh, okay, fair enough. So, yeah.
Yeah, so it's interesting. You weren't crossing paths then, but you were both there. Is that, have I got that right?
Yeah, which is
Like you
crazy
weren't
because
racing in the same races? Yeah, that
no,
is
we
crazy.
definitely were. Yeah, we're racing against each other.
Oh, you were, yeah, okay. But yeah, just not getting together in the pits and hanging out and that sort of stuff.
Nah.
Because back then it was GNC, it was Grand National Championship, so the layout was a little different than it is now.
Yep.
Yeah, because I had GNC 1 and GNC 2.
But that was later.
That was later, was it?
Yeah. When we first went, you went.
Oh no, it was pro singles and pro
that was later too.
Was that later again? Yeah, right.
No,
when we first went over,
amateur, still amateur, wasn't it? Yeah.
Well, when we first went over, you went, once you got an expert card, once you became an expert, you could ride a 450, but you couldn't race a twin until you'd earned a certain amount of points. So Goffy and I both got an expert license, which you're not supposed to be able to do. You're meant to go pro sport and earn your expert license. But so when we first went, we rode 450s against the big dogs. There was no 450 class or anything else. Everybody that turned up to the event raced the one class, and
that's awesome.
All in. Yeah, it was sick. We'd go to Springfield Short Track the first year we went, man. It was like 148 dudes. They take 60 to the program, and there would have been 4 or 5 tents covering the top 60 guys. So there was nearly 100 dudes there that went home because they were half a second off the pace. Like, it was cutthroat as hell back then.
Yeah, that's brutal. That's awesome. I love that.
Yeah.
And do you think the new format, the formats that followed after that, is that what changed the numbers that put people off, or? Because I don't think the way they ran the races changed much. They just had other classes, or they just changed the class format, wasn't it?
Yeah, I couldn't say what the thing was that changed the numbers. I mean, obviously the GFC kicked it in the balls quite a bit. And the first few years, man, when they had that Pro 450 or Pro Singles, they were calling it, and that was like JD Beach and Brad Baker and Jeff Carver, and like, man, there was so many heavy hitters in that class, and it was busy and packed and cool. But them kids would all race that class, and then as soon as they were ready to go GNC or old enough to go GNC, whatever, earn the points, they were going up, and it was just like basically a feeder class. They'd spend a year or two there and move up. Whereas now, I think the guys can earn decent money riding 450s, so they're happy just to, and there's not that many twins ride. So guys that are getting paid to ride a 450, sort of no brainer to just stay there and ride one. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's easier.
Yeah. And I was saying about amateur before. I thought there was like quite a big amateur nationals, like bigger than it had been in the last 5 or 10 years, I suppose. Obviously, Corey Texter's trying to build all that up and change it again. Was it like that when you were there? The amateur scene was quite big, and then obviously, like you said, the pro side was really cutthroat. So was there heaps of feeding into that?
Absolutely, yeah. Amateur
but you
nationals
went
was always
straight
big.
over into the But you went straight into pros, didn't you? Pro class,
Yep.
And how did you get that license? Just the fact that you're Australian number one, or?
Yeah, that was basically the angle I ran.
Yeah, nice. Yeah, why not? Yeah, what are they? I'm not saying you were, but what do they say? Fake it till you make it. Say
100%.
whatever you got to say to get in.
Story of my life, man.
Nice, I love it. Yeah, I love it. Yeah, mine's not far behind, but you've not quite the same success as on a seat, unfortunately. But yeah, what I was thinking actually when you were saying all about that, and the big differences, we know Americans really focus on their bike setup, and they have offsetted triple trees and all sorts of stuff. How did that change your racing when you came back home and did dirt track again? And so I'm meaning Aussie dirt track before the Aussie flat track stuff started up. Did it change the way you looked at your setup on your bike over here?
No, not really. I mean, I probably set the bike up a little different to how I would have back in the past or whatever. And obviously all those years over there doing it makes me sort of know how or what I like to do or whatever. But my setup at the track this day and age is how she comes out the van is how she is.
Just doing it.
Yeah. I don't like to change stuff at the track.
It's more just Yeah, just more adapting to how the bike feels on the day, sort of thing.
Yeah, but when we first went over there, they used to ride framers. So, and Luke will tell you, man, you go to a track Thursday night and can be right there at the front doing well, whatever, and then go to a track that you would think is pretty similar a day or two later and not be anywhere near the money. Those guys, when it come to working on a framer, if your setup was good, you could be good. If you weren't close, I could not get mine close. You can raise the fork, lower the fork, change the offset, change the cups, the steering head bearings are in to steepen the steering angle, swing arm angle, right. Like there's so much adjustment. And, you know, I was just throwing mud at the wall when I was trying to change mine. I didn't know what I was doing for a long time. You know, like the framer thing was a big learning curve, I reckon, over there.
Are you a framer lover then?
Oh, I think that was sick. Yeah, I'd love to have one still now.
Yeah, I know there's lovers and haters of them. I think they're awesome too because they're a real custom flat tracker, aren't they? But the DTX bikes, for bang for your buck out of the box, can't be beat really either.
Nah.
So
I think they've got them better now anyway.
Yeah, and I guess, yeah, that's right. What else is up your sleeve, Tom? You want to hear all the
what
gruesome
motors would you
drunken
typically run in the
stories? Don't you?
framers? I think he's.
What's that, Tom?
What type of motors were you guys running in the framers?
The whole time it was framers for me. I was hanging out with the Suzuki guys, so I always had Suzuki framers.
Yeah. But does it with the framer? Is it limited engine capacity or?
It was.
Twins?
Yeah, it was 450 class by the time I was there too. So I think the year before was 505, and the year before that was 600, and the year before that was, I think, whatever for a single. Because then we guys had like those friggin' 685 or whatever they were road tax things. Like they were massive, man, fast.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, couldn't handle it. They were quick.
They even had an era where they were running DRZs, didn't they? I think they even had an era where they had DRZs going around in circles.
Yep.
Which
I think that was
no
the
one was too
505
impressive.
time.
Yeah, right.
Oh, was it? Yeah, right.
Yeah. They made good numbers out of those things. They were faster than you would think, but they didn't rev amazingly fast or they were heavy.
Yeah, and they still are. But they're a good bike. I've got one. great bike.
And I've actually in New Zealand,
that's exactly right. Yeah, I'm hearing you.
I hate to say this, but Drake in New Zealand actually beat me on his DRZ. So yeah, he's still got one that's going around, and it had my tires on it. So that was brilliant.
Even better.
And it wasn't a marketing ploy either.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah. So over there, you're 20, getting into it. You went for quite a few years. How many years did you end up running for over in America?
I think my last full season was oh man, I can't even remember exactly. Maybe 2012 or somewhere around there was the last year I did full season. But I always said I'd go back and do at least one national until I didn't make a national number. And I ended up going back and doing a national every year until 2017. So I had a national number until 2017, and then we just didn't go back because life, or COVID or whatever it was, but just things changed, and I haven't been back since. So we would go every year, spend most of the time of the year over there, or go over once or twice a year. And then 2017 packed up stumps, cold turkey, and I haven't been back, which is a real shame.
So was that same year as you raced X Games? How was that? Because that would have been a freaking unreal email to receive.
Yeah, X Games was pretty rad. That was 15, 16, 17.
Yeah. That was huge.
Yeah, and it was unreal, man. Like I'd been speaking to Dan, the guy who was running it all or organising it all a little bit, and he'd sort of let me know that I was coming, but I didn't say anything about it to anyone because I was so nervous about jinxing it. And then the day when the X Games emails in your inbox when I got up was pretty rad.
Yeah, that'd have been sick. Yeah.
Yeah.
Did they give you freedom? Did they give you like a VIP pass where you can go watch all the events?
I do whatever you want. You go up, stand up on top of the mega ramp, go
Oh
wherever.
yeah.
We roll in there the first day, right? And you get there, you got to go to the athlete welcoming center or whatever.
Yeah.
And we walk over there, and I pop the door open, and it's velvet rope, red carpet, all studio lighting, like mecca. And I close the door and step back out of the room. I'm like, man, that ain't for me. Chloe's like, get in there, this is you. So I open the door and sneak around the corner of the velvet rope and just walk in the concrete floor beside it. I'm like, dude, that ain't me. I'm not.
Yeah. I thought you would. I've seen your dance skills. I thought you would have embraced it the whole way to the counter.
I did later. Slow starter.
That's it. Warm up first.
Needed a bit of Dutch courage.
Yeah.
So would that be one of your racing highlights, do you think? And like, I imagine it would have been hard to believe when you first went over there that opportunities would start coming your way and all this would have unfolded.
Absolutely. The X Game thing was rad, probably the highlight or whatever. But I mean, I was already pretty much done by then. You know what I mean? Like that was almost above and beyond once it was all sort of said and done. It's funny how it all worked, how hard you try when you're younger, and you know, dirt track was everything to me, and all I wanted was to be good and have great ride and blah 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 whatever. And then later on, it's like the opportunities and the things that happen and the opportunities that arise that you would have swapped your mother for back when you're in your heyday of it, you know. And now you're like, oh yeah, sweet, like it's unbelievable still, but you know, like it's just funny how it all
wouldn't
works
that
like
been
that.
5 years ago when I was at my prime? Yeah, I'm with you. Yeah, that was the one thing I said to Goffey. He always used to talk about he'd love to have a flat track series in Australia and whatnot. And as soon as this sort of kicked off, I said, what do you reckon? He's like, 10 years ago, yeah, I would have been loving every second of it. He goes, but I'm like you said, I'm over it. And I'm just like, fuck. It's like, yeah, that's the heartbreaking part about it. But I guess, yeah, it always arises when it needs to.
Yeah. Unfortunately.
So your last, not your last Aussie title, but the last Aussie title you won, was it the one at Gunnedah where you won 3?
Yeah.
So how did you feel after, well, you won Aussie titles before, but after winning the first one, lining back up to the gate and winning the second one, how was that? How did that feel? You probably would have been like, shit, did I dreaming this or?
Dude, same thing though, as I just said, you know, like when we were doing Aussie dirt track when I was younger, before the whole America thing, like I was already home and washed up and done by then, you know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
And that weekend, I don't know, man, that Sunday was kind of funny. I honestly didn't feel like I could be beaten. I had just something in me that day, and I was rolling. And even after, like, you know, I won the first one and I was stoked because it was the Duke of Edinburgh, you know, like it was the Pro 450,
yeah.
And I'm like, sweet, that's the important one at the back next to it, just,
It's,
you know, whatever.
Yeah.
And then made a start in the second one, won the second one, and I was like, sweet. And then I had guys coming over to me in the pits like, oh, you know, third time's a charm, like almost trying to jinx me or whatever. Which,
yeah, right.
Like, no sweat, boys, you know, like whatever. And I blew the start in 2 of them races, man, and come from the back. Like that bike was sick and I felt good. And that was just it was just a day where I was on and I just felt like it was my day regardless.
Yeah, I was on the hill watching it, and after the second one, I thought, oh, yeah, I took the bullet. I said, watch this, mate. I said, who'll win the next one? He's like, oh, I don't know. And next thing he come around, he's like, I think you got it. I think you're right. Yeah. And then he gave Denise a victory lap on the back of the bike. Yeah, she would have been over the moon from that. I couldn't believe it. Even when we raced at Gunnedah last year for the state titles, he sort of looked at everyone else going, what am I doing up here? Like, why did I win this? And I just thought that's insane. Like, considering the competition that you had, you just like, well, I'll give it a red hot crack. And if I'm up there, well, then or maybe you're saying I shouldn't be.
Nah, them boys gave it to me at Gunnedah last year.
Oh yeah, that was an awesome race meeting.
No, I mean rookie era. They gave me the win. That was a bad choice at the start.
Oh, did they?
Yeah.
Oh, no way. Okay, I had no idea. It looked like everyone was going balls to the wall.
Oh no, dude, they were, but Cody and Herrick were like Cody was making unreal starts, and Tom was fast as hell and making good starts and whatever.
Yeah.
And they were first, second choice for gate pick, and I was third choice, and they went gate 1 and gate 2.
Oh,
So
right. Okay. Yeah,
I went gate 3 and boxed them off the inside of the track before we got to the first turn, and gave myself plenty of room.
Yeah, well, they didn't give it to you. Then you still had to ride it. It was still an awesome to see. So you going back there?
As the oil tracks,
what was that?
you can answer, Tom.
Are you going to Gunnedah for the dirt track titles this year? State titles?
I'm not sure if I'll ride, possibly, but I'll take Axel out and have a ride probably.
Come on, you got to jump on it. You got to. I'll try and host coffee into coming up as well. But
I'll bring the old push start Honda.
Yeah, at least it's got a hill to the start line. You're right there. No, you go, Darcy.
Yeah, I was going to ask you.
I think you're 30 seconds delayed, so yeah, that's why we're talking over each other.
Yeah, I think I am. Yeah, I'm trying to compensate for it, but you know how that goes.
Yeah,
I was actually wanting to ask. I was wanting to ask if, because I don't know you well. Tom knows you a bit better than I do, and I was just wondering if oil is the surface you sort of favour, or I know you've ridden all sorts, but is oil your favourite, or do you like a good loose track?
Man, I like anything, to be honest with you. I just like riding bikes. As I get older, though, I think I'm more of an oil guy purely because, you know, when you're young and keen and get on them deep gravel tracks and getting your face sandblasted off, it's just sort of gets you fired up to go fast, you know. But now that I'm old, I'd probably rather just ride the oil. It's easier on the body.
You obviously haven't been a sidecar passenger for very long, then, have you?
Nah.
Because that's when it sucks.
I bet.
I
went to school too long to get on the side, Tom.
No, I didn't. I just chose a faster rider.
Where have you been all my life, Mick? Oh, fuck. That's classic. Time someone else gives it to you, Tom.
Dude, I had me go on a dirt track sidecar. Done my apprenticeship there.
Yeah. You were on Leakey's bike, I dare say, at Coffs Harbour.
Yeah, that was later on though. Originally, it was Chris Fuller. He owns that 500 alloy frame one that I raced dirt track on some.
Yeah.
And he rings the old man up and he's like, "Oh, does Mick want to ride the it's the Brian Purcell Memorial, I think they have at Kempsey."
Oh, yeah.
And Dad goes, "Oh, yeah, you're probably coming over a ride." But him and his mate have been bumping their gums about riding a sidecar. He goes, "Hang on, I'll ring you back in 10 minutes." So he rings back, tells the old man he's found a sidecar. So Dad rings me, "Fuller's got a sidecar if you want to ride it." I'm like, "Yeah, righto." So we go up there, ride it. We won that. There was only a couple of guys there, all brand new green first starters. And then we went and rode, I think it was the Twilight Classic at Taree, before it was the Bayless.
Oh, yeah.
And we won that on this old GS 1000 hunker lead heavy thing, dude. It sounded rad, but she was
cracked though.
Yeah, she was not a modern sidecar. Then we go to King and Nepean, and we're riding around, not doing amazing or whatever, but then fluke the start in the final and win the final at King and Nepean. So we've ridden this thing 3 times, won 3 meetings on it, right?
Yeah.
And then we're like, "Dude, let's take it to Gunnedah to the state title." Yep, let's do it. We're out there ripping around, and it was like the 2 young Raffin boys and Lebke brothers were still going, and anyway, we're at the pub on the Saturday night having a couple of beers, and Adam Lebke goes to me. He's like, "Dude, you got to tell your passenger to get further over to the right-hander. You're going to kill yourselves." I said, "You boys are just scared because we're going to beat you on that old thing, blah, blah, blah." First race Sunday morning, dude, we go through the top right-hander at Gunnedah, and she just digs the frame, like the sidecar frame, into the ground and just bounces like an AFL ball. Oh, man, monumental. I thought I'd killed him. So that was the end of our sidecar career there.
Yeah, that's fair enough.
You were saying a couple times, you've mentioned about thinking you were sort of done before you were done. What is there anything that sticks in your mind that made you sort of think that, or it's just, you know, you've just done so much riding, you sort of I don't know, you end up in America and you're going along and you sort of think, oh, I just can't do this anymore. Was it you meet your missus and you started having a family? Was it just you're going, I'm not making enough money, or I'm making too much money? What is it?
Yeah, I was making too much money and getting too many chicks, so I just give up.
Yeah, I
No,
thought so. Yeah.
no, basically, when I come home from the States after my last go around, it had been a tough year. I'd knocked myself around quite a bit, 2 years in a row. And by the end of, I'm sure it must have been 11 or 12, whenever it was, dude, I was just done. I was broke, doing heaps of it on my own, and it was just hard and whatever else. And actually, when I came home for Christmas that year, a mate of mine had started riding Speedway, and I was hanging out with him a bit, riding Speedway. I'm like, man, I might stay home and have a go at this next year. And then ended up getting a decent job and was working, fly in, fly out, making good money. And the motorbike racing part of it just became sort of not a side thing, but it wasn't the number one thing anymore for a bit. But then, the Bayless Classic rolls around and you get serious about that. And then like I've still been super active for a lot of it. And then obviously X Games rolls around, all that stuff. And was always riding and racing and whatever. It's not until like the last year of AFTN when I started to feel bad about dragging my family around just to go to the motorbike track all the time. Like Axel's got shit that he wants to be doing rather than just hanging out. So that was sort of what made me pull the plug. Yeah.
Yeah, interesting. Yeah, it's and can't blame you when you're feeling pretty broke from racing all the time, and then you get a good paying job. It does seem like a risk to go racing and jeopardize, making some cash without risking breaking your neck, sort of deal.
Yeah.
I think everyone can relate to that. What do you feel about like the lack of that sort of opportunity in Australia for someone to make a career out of like a paid career out of racing? Like, my dream is always for it to happen. It's going to take a long time, and I solely really do believe it can happen in Australia. But I mean, if you can do it in other sports, why not a motorsport? But it seems to struggle a bit over here. But anyway, all that aside, what do you think about that? Do you think racing a motorcycle for money is as good as everyone thinks it is? Do you think it's actually just a fucking hard slog and forget it, or what are your opinions?
Well, I mean, Drainey and Whale are both making some money over there and whatever, and that's all fantastic. I'm all for it, man. I'm 100% supportive of those guys, and I think the AFTN platform is unreal because kids get to ride, the same bikes and setups and the same similar sort of a deal before they go over there. So guys, and like the internet now it makes the world such a small place. You can speak to people and learn things that you couldn't ever do before. I feel like if you wanted to be a dirt tracker now is as good a time as any, apart from the fact that even the US side of it's probably not doing as good as it used to or could be. But as far as being a paid professional Australian dirt track rider, I think she's a long time off, man. I mean, in all realisticness, how many Aussie motocross guys are making a proper living out of it? And
Yeah.
This is a horrible thing to say to young viewers because when you're young and you're racing bikes, man, you'd put her on the line to be a factory guy for free, sort of thing. I mean, like it's motorcycle racing is all of it. But you get someone who is earning 30 or 40 grand a year to be a pro motocrosser, or 50 grand a year to be a pro motocrosser. Dude trains, whatever, got some, some contingency money deals going, whatever, can get by, going fine. Think of how hard he has to ride every day or every couple of days to be that good and everything else. And it can go wrong.
Just like that.
And is it worth to me, it just gets to the point where it's almost not worth the risk versus reward unless you're making a ton. Yeah. But that's me being old saying that. So
yeah, I'm hearing you there.
Yeah, but there is both sides to that, and I think I don't know how to explain it. I don't know if you think along the lines of, it's because of promoters, or is it our controlling bodies that are stopping the opportunities? Because there's a lot of, I don't know, we did have a big scene like Tom mentioned earlier. Like if you look at some of the footage from the 80s and 90s, there were cigarette banners everywhere, and there was
bring back the Durry sponsors, man.
and I don't want to sound like an American framer lover. Bring back the framers, and that, because that was the past. We're in the future, so and moving forward. But if it happened once, surely we can make it happen again. And I'm not saying that those guys were making great livings. I'm sure they were all having a blast. But I don't know what the recipe is, but I think we should be able to do it. And I totally hear what you're saying. Risk first, reward. Well, that's up for the individual if they want to put that effort in and go for broke. And like you said, we've got two young Aussies in Australia and in America that are giving it a red hot crack, and that's what they're doing. So it's
absolutely. Pagey's right behind them too, man. That kid's going to be a star.
Oh yeah,
100%. Well, you saw him. You saw the younger brother on the weekend. Oh, Jesus! Yeah.
It's not. There's actually quite a few. Won't mention all of them, but there's quite a few families that are going down that path, and that's sort of. I'm really happy for them. I'm really great that path's there, but I really wish they could stay at home and do it. And not, and we have it going both ways. That Americans, Canadians, British, Spanish, and all that want to come here and race and
that's right.
have similar opportunities. So, and I don't give a fuck what anyone says. There is an industry here. People make money from doing motors, downpipes, repairs, levers. I make money selling wheels. Might not be, might be not paying me house off with it, but there is an industry there. Is what I'm trying to say.
Haircut,
so. Pays for my haircut. You're fucking
right. Get him going.
Doesn't quite cover the polish though.
Tom
does that when we catch up.
If it's all right, Mick, I want to ask you more of a controversial question. I'm not going to say names or anything like that, but last year at the Aussie Titles with the whole protesting number plate saga, I think the whole of the Australian dirt track community understood your feelings about it. But what was your what did you gather from all of that going down?
So if I get beaten, no, it's fine. And I'm happy to state my side of it, dude. Like, this is how I feel about it. And opinions like assholes, everyone's got one. This is just mine. All right.
Yeah. No, I want to hear
it. If I go to a race meeting and you beat me because you beat me, that's how it goes. If your numbers are the wrong color, that's not why you beat me in a motorbike race.
Yeah.
Like I get so frustrated with well, kick it back a year, right? We go to AFTN, whatever year it was, not the one we just had the year before.
Yeah, 23, yeah.
We go to Appen for race 1. And Mark says at Riders Briefing, it's been brought to my attention that some guys have the wrong coloured numbers on the back of their jersey. If this gets protested, I'll have no option but to uphold the protest and you'll be excluded. And I'm like, no, bullshit. I put my hand up. I'm like, dude, we can't have that. Why don't you just, anyone who's that low of a person to do that, put your hand up now in front of everyone. And Mark's like, no, that's not how it works. And Dave Maddock goes, yep, I'm not having that at my meeting. We're not doing that.
Yeah.
Back numbers don't count today. We're not having it.
Yeah.
Anyway, we leave Riders Briefing. And as we're walking back to our tents, this person who can remain nameless says to me, Nick, you can't honestly tell me that if you got second, the dude who won had the wrong color numbers on the back of his shirt, you wouldn't protest. I said, dude, I would kill myself before I protest over the color of someone's number on the back of their shirt. Like, I can't believe that would even enter somebody's mind. Mm. Anyway, we go on about the race, whatever, blah, blah. Go to Gunnedah, finish on the Sunday.
Yeah.
And, everything's all done and whatever. I win it. The guy who didn't win it comes over to me and he's like, hey, mate, awesome job, been so good racing with you all year, blah, blah, blah. I'm like, yeah, dude, it's been super cool. Shake hand. He's like, are you going home? Nah, we're staying in town. I'll come around and have a beer. Comes around, has beer, shoots shit, have a great night. No dramas. Yeah. Next day, I'm talking to my father-in-law. I'm like, man, maybe I shouldn't think like I do of that guy. He seemed really cool last night, blah, blah. He's like, yeah, I was thinking the same thing. As we're saying this, my phone rings in my pocket. Hello. Hey, I didn't tell you this. It's Dave Maddock, right? The promoter of the event. He goes, hey, I didn't tell you this yesterday because I knew you'd erupt. Old mate comes over to me yesterday after the last race and says, Kirkness is out. Kirkness is out. He hasn't got the scrutineering sticker on his front number plate. You've got to kick him out of the meeting. I'm the champion. He's out. So then when that thing happened up there with Downing, man, I'm like, oh my God, how many times does this dude have to do this type of rubbish before he's called out? It just doesn't sit with me, that sort of stuff, man. Like if you get beat, you get beat. Like if dude was running a big bore, cool, check his motor or
that's right. Yeah.
Check his fuel, whatever you want to do. But man, for the color of your stickers, come on. Don't need people like that in the sport.
No, definitely not. And I totally agree. And it's sort of if it states in the sub regs that these are the color backgrounds you have to define which bike you're racing in what class. So now, where does Motorcycle Australia's rule book uphold if that's one of the rules that they come up with, and the rule was broken, but nothing happened about it? Well, you know what I mean?
Okay, so the flip side of that, Tom, I see what you're saying. You break one rule, break them all, doesn't matter, right? It's a grey area, and I'm always about the grey area too. I don't like grey. It's got to be black and white, right?
Yeah, just make it.
So how does that bike pass scrutiny on Saturday morning, and how come we had to wait till after the final on Sunday afternoon before anything was said about it? If you've got a problem with it, have a problem with it before the meeting starts.
Yeah.
Don't have a problem with it after it's beat me in the final.
Yeah. Yeah, well, that's
Mick must have been listening to our other pod, Tom, because that's exactly what I said.
Yeah, no.
How does it even get that far? You know.
Well, it's just funny when you you know what I mean. You hear stories around the traps if they're bullshit, if they're rumors, if they're Chinese whispers or whatever. But sort of, I heard 5 different stories and 3 went one way and 2 went the other. And then you look at the name on the Duke Trophy and you could see who they awarded the title to, and you kind of like, all right, so if a rule's broken and I protest against it, it's not going to matter. Like, where's like you said with the grey area? That's why I was kind of like, man, if you go by the rule book, technically he's right, but why did it pass? Well, why did it go through scrutineering, and why was it only said on the Sunday afternoon, not when it was initially brought up? That was just. I think it was one of those things that just really dampened the weekend, and I'd hate
100%.
I'd hate to see it. Not that we had to wait ages for it, but it was good. Would be good for us to have a photo with Kate and with the Duke Trophy.
Dude, how often does that club have big events? You know, and they turn themselves inside out, have the national championship, all the work, all the effort, all the volunteers, can't award the premier trophy of the day because someone's got a problem with the color of a sticker on a motorbike. That blows my mind.
Yeah, no, I knew as soon as you put that post up on Matt straight away, he's like, are you on Facebook? I'm like, yeah, bro. And he's like, oh, I'll give Mick a call quick. I couldn't stop laughing. I was like, oh, that's just
that one actually made it to Tank Slapping Pod in America.
Yeah, that went all the way to him. You know what? They actually made it on Gypsy Tales with Jack Miller as well.
Oh, did it? Yeah, right.
Yeah, Jack Miller turns around and said something about one of my best mates won the Aussie titles last year, and some idiot or peanut or something protested against him about coloured number plates, and Jace is like, what? And I was like, yeah, I thought that was pretty wild that Miller threw that out there, but you listen to it, it's beautiful. It's prime. He's on fire that whole episode.
Yeah,
and all right, so going back to America, you said you banged yourself up pretty bad. What were you meaning? Just like, did you have some bad stacks, or was it just working your body hard, or what sort of bang up are we talking about?
Alcohol intake.
Well, that's all right. You were young, you know. We all got on the piss when we were younger.
Yeah. I crashed halfway through 2009, motocrossing with some friends, and completely severed my left ACL. And every time I'd put it anywhere near the ground for the rest of the year, it would just blow up. So I was like getting it drained and whatever. Anyway, finished 09, had it fixed over there, and came home, done the rehab thing, whatever. Go back over there the following year, 2010, and like round 3, I think it was, high side, and completely severed me right one.
Oh.
And then June that year, completely severed the left one again. So like I had both my knees blown out within 6 months, and or done them 3 times within 12 months. Like it was just, and just other little niggly stuff like hurting wrists and thumbs and whatever, but not so much any of the rest of it. Just knocking me knees around really wrecked me. I don't think I was ever as good after I'd done my knees in as I was before.
Yeah, that was the mental side of stuff.
I think so, more than anything. Yeah, that is what I just never felt as good. I was always like half tentative, putting my foot out and everything else. And
it's sort of like aging, isn't it? Like
I didn't do that well either.
He's not that old, Darcy.
Oh no, once you start just taking less risk, especially if you've done your knees 3 times. Did you say? Yeah, I would. I'd be worried about walking to the bus, let alone going on a motorcycle.
Never fixed them again either. I've had 2 blown out knees since 2010.
Yeah, right. So no running for you then, no marathons.
Nah,
although you did the Think, didn't you, last year? Last year, how'd they go with that?
You stole me question, you bastard.
Oh, boy.
Get it.
My lag must be fixed.
Yeah.
I cycle a fair bit to try and keep them as good as I can, but they sort of are what they are, and it's been a long time now that I've been riding around it and dealing with it. So it's just, I think I've got it sort of my technique dialed to protect old worn out knees.
Yeah, sweet. And how much did you pay those fellas to steal Matt's wallet from the hotel room?
He caught onto it quicker than I thought he would. I was trying to get that card emptied out, but it didn't work.
Me nothing on it anyway.
I'd already spent it all.
Maybe, I think so, yeah. So what was your idea on Fink? I remember seeing the bike and I'm like, who's getting on that? And he sort of looked at me and smiled and flicked a rubber band at me. And I knew straight away. I was like, oh, shit. He goes, yeah. And he just goes like that. I said, I ain't saying nothing, but that's going to be sick. And I sat there all day while they were doing the prologue just to hear you say 6 words at the start. And when she walked off, I literally turned the TV off. I went, well, someone could have sent that clip to me on Facebook. It would have saved about 6 hours of my life.
Dude, that's gnarly. That's the gnarliest thing I've ever seen or done or whatever else. And them guys were like, oh, you'll have Fink fever. You'll be back next year. No, I will not.
No way. No.
Dude, that's insane. You can't even fathom. Maybe I just rode it at the perfect wrong speed or something, or did something wrong, but it just seems like death the whole time, dude. It's so crazy.
The perfect wrong speed.
Yeah.
I haven't heard that one.
Maybe
so you had a big one. Yeah, you had a big one going to Alice, and another one back at coming to Fink, didn't you?
Nah, on the way down,
yeah,
a dude had a big crash in front of me, and I was with him for.
Oh, you just stopped and helped him.
Yeah, I was with him for quite a while, and then they say to go and check in when you get to the end, and they'll fix your time up or whatever. So they took 40 minutes or something off me time or whatever it was, but they didn't adjust me start spot, so I still had to start nearly last to come home the second day. So I rode in just dust the whole way back, and went off the track myself and broke a helmet.
Oh no! Was there people around to help you there?
Well, when I don't remember there being anybody there, but when I woke up, there was a native dude helping pick me up off the ground.
Yeah, right. Did he take your wallet?
No, I didn't have it with me.
because I had the laptop open as well, watching their times and whatnot. And off your start, you got a cracker start into turn 1.
Yeah, Matt said I got to lead it out of the stadium.
A little bit quick into that berm, you sort of had ass out of the seat for a second, then you were off. I thought, perfect style for Mick to just bend turn 1, pick it up, and just and run away with it.
Nah, she was a bit of a wild experience.
Yeah,
it would have been completely fucked on the way back then if you were starting right at the back.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, it looks completely fucked from the start anyway.
It's
not something.
Matt says to me, "You got to lead it out of the stadium." I'm like, "Yeah, dude, no dramas. Get the whole shot." That bike went really good.
Yeah, it was a good track up.
Lead her out, and we hadn't ridden the first 5Ks of the track. I'd ridden
Oh,
the rest
right.
of it. I'd ridden the rest of it once, but I hadn't ridden the first 5Ks. Anyway, so we get to going, and the dude behind me goes past whatever, and it's dusty, you know. And they said it wasn't even a dusty year, which it probably wasn't, but it's dusty. It's about this dusty, righto.
Yeah.
And anyway, dude goes past. I probably slow up a little bit. Another dude goes past. I slow up a bit. There must have been, I don't even know how many guys, but like 15 or 20 dudes went past me in the first 5Ks because I could not see me hand in front of my face, and they are just fifth gear, head down, just holding them on the limiter going past.
And you let go 5 at a time in that, like
yeah.
that.
Oh yeah, dude. That was heaps going past. Those dudes
So
would
you
not
got
even.
a gap.
They weren't even watching where they were going, just holding it flat in top gear. I'm like, how do you even know where you're going, you maniac?
Just hope.
Yeah. Jesus, take the wheel.
Yeah, well, yeah, something's taking something. Oh.
So a mile track doesn't even come close to that, I'm guessing.
Well, a mile track's great fun and everything else, but out there, man, it's just like you can't. People go, "Oh, you do a lot of pre-running." Okay, we do a lot of pre-running, and then the buggy goes down there, and I don't know. Those guys that go fast out there are something else. Like,
yeah, I've got no idea how they do that.
No.
And we're flip-flopping all over the joint here. What's your, I suppose, most memorable on-track experience in America and off-track experience in America? And it can be a piss story, it can be whatever on the off-track one. I hope you weren't drunk while you were racing, but yeah.
This is where he's giving you free reins to tell us the rankest story you've got, and he won't bleep anything out.
I couldn't narrow it down to one story, man.
Okay, one
That's
story
what we want to hear.
We had some good times. Best on track. Oh, I don't know that I could narrow that down to one either. Battled with JR Schnabel one day at Peoria TT for second, the whole main event, man, like going at it. It was wicked. Wiles was gone. He was winning.
Yeah.
Me and JR battled for like 22 or 23 laps.
Jeez.
And then coming out of turn 4 last lap, I kind of half ran in the back of him and messed my run up, and Sean Russell passed me. I ended up 4th, like absolutely gutted at the end because I was right there the whole time. But that was probably one of my best races. It was ESPN, I think, were there, or something like that, and videoed it all. It was all on film, and it was like mine and his battle the whole way on the video, and that was really cool. But yeah, I don't know. That was a really good race for on track. But I mean, there's so many good experiences, man. Like the first time you ever pull out of the pit gate at Springfield Mile on a twin and burn turn 1, like shit like that is like with you forever, you know.
Yeah,
I reckon anyway. Or Indy Mile's the same. Indy Mile's unreal. Like first practice at Indy Mile is, you can't even begin to imagine how good it is. It's like, because straight up first go, it's brand new, smooth, perfect. There's no grooves.
Manicured dirt,
yeah, dude. It's like riding Appen, but 5 times the size. You know, like just going so fast.
So are you backing off into the turn, like, because I know Indy's more, I wouldn't say a harder surface, but not loose.
Yeah, Indy's got a push to it. In the morning, you can go around Indy. Well, not in the morning, but like first practice or whatever, you can go around Indy pretty much flat out.
Oh wow! Holy
it's
shit.
Pretty good. And I'm sure you could later, but I just don't know that it's the fastest way later on. You know, like trying to
you blow
get the groove and whatever else. Yeah, but I mean, I'm sure Baker goes around there, absolutely on the hammer a lot.
Oh, 100%. Yeah, he's incredible. Absolutely incredible. So how do I get one of the Kirkness 387 shirts? I seen a couple of floating around on the weekend. I was just like, oh, she wouldn't mind getting a couple of those.
I'll have to have a look what's left, if there's any left.
Just don't tell Goffy though, because he'll get upset with me.
Oh, you've got the Jer signature shirt.
Yeah, of course I do, 100%. Yeah, I remember when Goffy's daughter walked up to me at the pub in Gunnedah and said, "Dad, why are you on that man's shirt?" And I turned around and like, "Oh, hi Tom." Yeah, I had heaps of people walk up asking where he was at Brisbane, and I was devastated. I know that you didn't even show up for that one either.
Nah, No. Tried to get him on the Stark for up there.
That didn't work.
No, I don't know what happened there.
Trying to get him on one.
Well, yeah, on the one I rode, I was trying to get him to ride it. I'm not sure what ended up happening with all that.
Yeah, I don't know. He said he was crook or something like that. As
Yeah.
far as the answer he gave me, and I was like, oh, well,
Yeah.
fair enough. Yeah, that's all right. He come to Appen and did his thing, and then bowed out and see you later.
Came to Gunnerslow and had a beer.
That's right. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, we got you on track, so we didn't get you off track. He was avoiding that, Tom. Did you see that? He was changing
Dude,
Have you got your finger over the bleep button? Because there might be a few.
Nah, it's not like that.
Right.
There's so many wild
hard
stories.
Hard to choose. Yeah.
I did hear a few stories of you liking to jump in the back of the back of the trailer or whatever and fire your bike up and lay a set of rubber up the back door. I heard that a couple of times.
Oh man, I don't even know where to start. Oh, so here's a yarn. So a good buddy and sponsor of mine, Dave Corey, he used to promote this race in Quincy, Illinois each year, and he had a little tire shop up there. Anyway, there's like a I don't know what you would call it, like a little town expo-y type thing, car show or whatever it is. And he's got a tent set up, and he's like, can you bring your bike up and sign some posters and blah blah, help me promote my race? Yeah, no dramas. So I'm fanging up there, and I had this little soccer mum mini Astro van, right? And I'm fanging up there. Cop pulls me over, and he's like, any reason why you're going so fast, sir? I said, I didn't realize I was only doing 70 mile an hour. He goes, 2-lane blacktops in this county are 35. I'm like, right. I said, I didn't know, mate. And honest and truthful, the entire time I was over there, right, we drove unregistered, uninsured, fictitious tag vans all the time. We never had a legal vehicle the whole time, except for this particular day, right?
Yeah,
my Astro van was registered when we first got it, so I guess we had 1 year of a registered vehicle.
Yeah.
Anyway, so I hand him my license. I get the insurance card, proud as punch, because I've never usually got one of those to ever hand to a cop. Hand him the insurance card. He goes back to his vehicle and comes back, and he goes, Michael, who owns the vehicle? I said, I do, but it's registered in my buddy Travis's name. He goes, where does Travis live? So he lives in Missouri with me. He goes, righto, the van's got Illinois tags on it. I said, yeah. Travis's parents and family live in Illinois, so he just has all his paperwork go there. And he goes, righto, and Travis comes up as having a Texas driver's license. I said, yeah, he's actually from Texas, but he's in Missouri with me for work. He goes, righto, so you're an Australian living in Missouri, driving an Illinois registered vehicle that belongs to a Texan. I said, yes, sir. He hands me back my license and says, slow down, would you? Off I go, right? So anyway, go to this thing, sign the posters, do the deal. Coming home, and Travis rings. He's like, hey, dude, we're going to go to California Speedway tonight and watch another one of our buddies, Ryan, drive his sprint car. I'm like, yep, sweet as, I'm half hour away. I'll see you in a minute. So I drive home as fast as my little Chevy Astro van will go. Mm-hmm. Pull off the interstate on the off ramp, and it just seizes right there when at the traffic light, right? Done. 2 cars go around me. 3rd vehicle in line's a motorcycle cop. He puts the light on and comes up, and he's the full, got the big thing on the side of his pants and the mustache and the half helmet thing, like full on donut eater, like you see. Yeah, dude, just like in the movies, right? Problem, sir? I'm like, yeah, dude, this thing's just seized. Can I chuck her on the side of the road and come back and get it later? He's like, no problem. I'll direct the traffic. So I knock her into neutral and roll her on the side of the road. And I go, dude, I got my race bike in the back. I've just got to go a couple of miles down to where the shop was at North 10 Mile. I'm like, dude, it's just down there. Do you mind if I ride the bike? He's like, no, wear a helmet, go directly where you got to go. I'm like, sweet. She's full TT set up. Got the front brake on and all, So I go tearing down the road. Oh, back her into the corner, big wheelie up the street, back her into the corner. All the boys are in front of the shop waiting. Like flat out top gear wheel stand down the road. Oh, back her into the shop. I'm like, they're like, where's the van? I'm like, dude, the van just blew up. This copper just said I could ride the bike. Like, I'm jumping out of my skin excited. And then here comes this Harley down the road. And I'm like, and that's the cop. And they go, no, it's not a cop. I go back to my story. Sure as shit, the dude pulls in. It's the motorcycle cop, right? He pulls up and he's like, now I told you to go directly where you had to go. I didn't tell you to ride 100-mile-an-hour wheel stand down the street. I'm like, I'm so sorry, dude. I was just telling these guys what a champion you were for letting me do this. And he goes, I'm over here writing out a ticket for an old lady going 5 miles an hour too fast down the road, and I hear your tires howling. I'm like, I'm sorry, dude. He goes, have a good day, gentlemen. Boom, and just starts her up and rides off.
Oh, jeez.
Oh, so they're fairly mild-mannered then, the cops. I know they cop a lot of shit, and it's pretty high risk being a policeman over there. But, if you're good-natured to them, they're generally pretty good.
Dude, I have quite a few funny cop stories, and we've been, Jace Castles with me one night, and we had the helicopter flying over us, and the cops come up to one each side of the car with their pistols out. We got away, no ticket. I got pulled over one night doing 200 miles an hour up the interstate and got a noisy muffler ticket in a Honda hybrid car because he's like, I got to book you for something.
Oh, holy crap.
Yeah, we had a good run.
Yeah, how do you get a noisy muffler ticket when you're going?
Yeah, it's a 200 kilometer an hour or 200 mile an hour fine. That's what it is.
Must be the accent.
Yeah, you must think in Canada or England.
She got thick when the cops were there, let me tell you.
Yeah.
G'day, mate.
Yeah, you didn't carry a big knife around with you, did you?
No.
Oh, shit. Yeah, so recommending the journey for future generations. If they can't do it here, you recommend going over to the States and having a crack?
100%. I think the amateur national thing's unreal for kids, especially the fact of just hanging out in the campground and, different race each day and just the whole atmosphere of it all. It's wicked. I think that it's, anyone who's half thinking about doing anything to try and do a pro career should go and do amateur nationals at least once just to get a vibe and check it out,
Yeah. Yeah, and it looks like they're trying to soup that up even more to bring it back to being as big as it used to sort of be, which yeah, sounds awesome. What about in Australia, like progression? What do you think would be good? What would some of the things you'd like to see happen over here for dirt track and flat track? So not just flat track, Aussie dirt track too.
I think it's one thing that keeps us how we are is we're extremely amateur based as far as you go to the Australian Dirt Track Championship where you're supposed to we'll have a class called Pro 450, so which obviously is short for professional, and the meeting still has kids on 50s and modified CRF 80s and whatever as support classes. I think if you want to have a professional effort to it, and don't take it that I don't think the kids get a turn. I'm all for that. But if you're going to run a meeting where there's the pro guys or whatever, and you want it to be a spectacle, program needs to be short and have one or two classes. Like it just needs to be exactly that, I think grading for Australian dirt track would make a massive difference because there's a lot of guys who love doing it, but they have a 450 in there. 29 years old, they might be an average rider and they have to come and race against Jared Brook and Kaisham Wheel and you know what I mean? So they're basically given their entry money as a donation to the prize money because they're not going to win any of it back, whereas if there was a true clubman or a true C grade or whatever, those guys could go and race against similar people to themselves and have a chance at battling with the similar type of guy and making a couple of $100 or whatever, but for how it is now, if you have a 450, you race against the best dudes and you're not even going to, you're going to watch the final. And I know everyone says they do it for love, but you know what? Do they? Would it not draw more people in, average Joe guys that want to ride, so you have your open meeting and you have those guys run through or whatever, and they could still race their way to the pro or whatever. And then the pro guys get to turn up in the afternoon and race the night part or whatever, where there's an abbreviated program where the good guys are on display. So for someone to go and watch the Australian Dirt Track Championship, they don't need to be at the track in the dirt and dust watching kids and everything for 2 full days to see a result.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah, no,
What do you think about having the Australian dirt track titles as a series, like the AFTN are doing it?
Dude, I think it's great. But same thing goes. You know, like I feel like if we're going to Townsville or we're going to wherever we're going to, and I know those guys aren't traveling for that, but wherever you're traveling to for an event, if you're traveling to a Pro 450 Australian Dirt Track Championship and you're going to spend 2 days sitting around because there's kids classes and there's everything, and you ride your motorbike for 10 minutes total. You know, you do a couple of heat races and a final of 4 or 5 laps or whatever. Like, you know, you've just driven as far as you've driven. And again, I'm sounding like a negative guy, and I'm not, because we did this forever. But it just seems like, you know, it seems to be getting worse. Like you go, my personal opinion is there shouldn't be 3 classes where it's the same same guys on the same bikes in 3 classes. And you know, they'll send out an entry form, and the entry form says 10 entries to constitute a class, $500 to win the Pro 450. So let's use Bathurst, for example. You go to Bathurst and there's 58 guys there on 450s. Well, if they only needed 10 to make it $500 to win, where's the money for the rest of it? You know what I mean? Like, and I know the clubs need money and there's costs involved and all that, but the pro class, the Pro 450 class, should be those 3 450 classes joined together in one race, 3 times the laps, 3 times the money. Like, you know what I mean? Like, just consolidate all that. And that class's entry should be 100% payback. So if it's $100 entry and they get 50 guys there, that's $5,000 in the pool. Or if my math is correct, you know what I mean? Rather than it being $500 to win, and now there's 60 guys and it's still $500 to win.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah,
we'll earn the entry money from the other classes and everything else that's there. That's fine, but the pro class should be 100% payback.
Yeah, the hardest thing is with people as well is I hear so many mixed answers with why they don't race as much or race at all, and why meetings are dying down. Like, you speak to you know, people that have been there with other riders, and next, you know, they're there but the rider's not, they're just helping out, and you're like, why didn't so-and-so ride anymore? It's like, well, it costs X amount a year, or I can't afford new bikes to keep up with these new younger riders that have got thick wallets and things like that. And it's kind of like, there is a lot of juniors that are coming through, but it seems like, the seniors are going out just as quick, if not earlier, than the juniors are coming through. It's sort of odd that you're only getting like 6 or 7 sidecars, which, if you spoke to my dad, to be 6 or 7 sidecars from one small club. And it's weird. Like, I thought AFTN would have hopefully reignited a lot of older or past dirt trackers back into the sport again to keep going and keep the I don't say legacy going, but it seems to be just getting less and less, and it doesn't help when the tracks are real far away from the general dirt track population either, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, the travel part of it, those Franco's guys and that, man, they'd done some traveling last year, you know, down to Appin and whatever else. Like, so
holy shit,
having to go to Maryborough to me doesn't seem like that big of a deal. We used to go to Maryborough heaps when I was a young fella doing it. I don't know, man. I just feel like, you know, you go to an RPA day and you pay your $50 and you've probably ridden enough, you can pack up at lunchtime and go home. Like, you've spent an hour or more riding your motorbike, you know. Whereas I just feel like we cater for so many people now in so many classes. And I feel like senior meetings too, there never used to be as many junior support as there is now. There's so much junior support. And I know they say, oh, you know, we need the junior support to make the numbers to run the event. Well, I kind of feel like it's catch-22. And the reason why the senior numbers are dropping is because there are so many junior classes. I mean, everybody's same deal, you know, everyone's got an opinion in a way that they think it would work. And I'm not saying mine's correct. It's, you know, I don't hardly like 2-day meetings anymore because travel, you know, like you got 2 days off work and it's accommodation and it's whatever else. And if your family can afford that and loves doing that, then that's all the power to you. But I would rather turn up at 4 o'clock on a Saturday arvo, be out of there by 9, have the paycheck in my back pocket. Because that makes your hourly rate go up, you know.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, I'm hearing you.
Yeah, look, if it's a national series, I don't mind travelling for it. If it's if it's a 1 day or 2 day national event, for like a title or something, I'm one of those riders that knows that I won't be getting the 450 first place. So that does put me off doing those big trips. Maryborough for the AFTN, I'd love to be there, but I'm choosing to go overseas and have a ride with some friends I've made in the Netherlands. So I had, you can't have everything, but yeah, as far as the AFTN, no problem at all traveling around for that. I like the way it's the class structure's sort of minimalist. There's 2 junior classes, so they still get a spin, and it makes for a good event. We just before actually the podcast we've recorded before you, Mick, was with Mick Pillinger, so the event manager, commentator of the AFTN, and yeah, we had some good chats about the event with him, which is good. And yeah, there's some still improvements for that series, of course, as every series evolves and changes and has to. And I really hope that it keeps going. But it's sort of funny. I don't know. I don't know if it's a human condition or an Aussie condition or what it is, but some people just don't want to see things succeed. Well, that's what I feel like. They don't want to see it succeed. Do you feel like that too with the racing over here a bit? They don't want to see the change, or even though that can bring in, to me, going the 19s, connecting with the rest of the world that race on 19s just makes our family so much bigger and more opportunity for, like, my dream to happen for our racers to be able to race at home and make money. I just don't understand. And we've always said on this pod, we don't want to kill Aussie dirt track. It is unique. It's got its place.
100%.
But I still don't understand why people will go out, buy the setup, go, yeah, I reckon the concept's great. I've always wanted to race in a series. Oh, but hold on, I've had 3 rides on it. I don't actually like how it feels. Nah, fuck this. This is shit. I don't. Yeah, I don't get it, guys. For the people that have done that, I mean, we all know motorcycle racing. You have to do your apprenticeship. So yeah, let us help it grow. Let's all grow it. What do you reckon about that? Like, you think sort of
The growth and change.
Do you have an answer of why you where that mentality comes from? Do you think, or
You mean like the growth and change thing?
yeah?
So here's my take, and again, just my thoughts,
Yeah,
right?
well,
Like
it's the same. I'm spreading my ass all over the
and I'm happy to be told I'm wrong with a better idea or
Yeah.
whatever else. But
Yeah.
back in the day, they used to race 125, 250, and 500 2-strokes on motocross, correct?
Yeah.
Well, now they race 250s and 450s, right? Because that's what the world has become. That's now the bikes they use, and MotoGP's changed, and like everything's changed and moved with the times. You get your entry form for the Australian Dirt Track Championships, and there is still a slider 500 and a slider 250 class. There ain't a handful of dudes in the country that can even ride them things anymore, or have them, or ride. Like, you know what I mean? Like, it's
So
time
why have they still got them in the entry list when they never get the numbers?
I think that might be the point, Mick's trying to
dude,
get
across. Stuck in a rut.
in the past.
We got to get sliders back. No, we don't. Like, they were cool. Don't get me wrong, man. A good dude on a slider, badass. But we don't have no good dudes on sliders anymore.
They all gone to Speedway.
Well, it's just a dead thing. Like, it's just there's heaps of that. Like, there's so many guys that are so stuck in the dirt track wave. This is how we've always done it. This is how it's got to be done. Okay. Like, I've made my idea of the 3 classes of the big boys going into one and running more laps. And the response was, do you know how far out in front the good guys would be if the races were over that long of a race? Which brings me back to the point of grading. Get the guys that shouldn't be in that class out of that class.
Yep.
And have if there's 15 good dudes, there's 15 good dudes that can race against each other for 10 laps or whatever. You know what I mean? Like, it's just, I feel like there's stuff that we could do to make it better. And once you bring the lap thing up, obviously then tires become an issue, and I think the 19 tire becomes the only tire that you can use. And like, there's so many things that we could adjust in the sport to make it sort of just go that way anyway. And two, man, when I was still active and going for it or whatever, we'd go to West Wyalong, and you would know, Tom, you've been there. You would take trials tire and knobby to start the day, and then by the end of the weekend, you're running slicks. So you need to have enough tires in the car for if it's for slicks all weekend, enough tires in the car if it's trials tires all weekend, and enough wheels and whatever. Like, you take $15,000 worth of wheels and tires just in case the track does whatever it does. Whereas, dude, it's 19. You take the bike with a set of wheels in it, and that's what you got. Like, just here we go.
That's it. Yeah.
Yeah, that's pretty much my thoughts.
I think you satisfied him with that answer.
Yeah. No, well,
Looks like
you're
he needs
not
a cigarette after it was that good.
the good thing is you're not saying that anything that a lot of other guests we've had on were saying. You know, everyone's singing the same song until you go to do shit, and then it's, I don't know, they start rebelling again. It's fucking weird.
Yeah.
But anyway, I reckon we'll win one day. I'll probably have absolutely no hair left. The bags under my eyes will definitely be a lot bigger. But yeah, we'll keep going down. Keep fighting, never go down is what I'm trying to say.
Can I ask you, Mick, about the haircut that you had when you were at Fink?
Oh, yeah, I just had the back go.
What possessed you? What possessed you to look so fast without being on a motorcycle?
Well, dude, I used to just shave the top out of it and run the fluffy sides and back. And then I was like, man, this looks really, really bad when I'm anywhere where people don't know me. So then I cut the sides off and just ran the back for a while. Like, it's not many. I haven't got many options, and if you can't tell, Norby, she's pretty dry up there.
I've seen some crazy hairdos on the top of your head over the years, that's for sure.
Is that just because you're a dad, and how many kids do you have?
Just the one. He's actually just here saying good night. Come here, Ack, say good day. Just give a wave.
Hey, buddy, how you going?
Yeah, mate.
See you tomorrow.
Someone did some racing on the weekend.
Yeah, man. He rode Curry Aussie Juniors. Yeah.
Yeah, and went well.
Yeah, unreal.
Yeah.
Did so good. And then unfortunately didn't get the greatest start in the final, and charged through the back though like a champion, come tearing through the pack, got up to fourth and tipped her over. And he was gutted. I said to him, man, I'd way more proud of you for making a bad start and charging and tipping over than making a bad start and rolling around the back. You know, I said 4th, 45th, who gives a shit? We didn't win. Better off crash trying.
Yeah,
that's it. Yeah. That's it. And how many events has he done? Is he still new to racing, or is he?
Yeah, that was his 3rd race.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Nothing wrong with that.
No, so he he'd said let's go racing or whatever a couple of times, but nothing serious, and wouldn't ride a petrol 50. And then we're at a practice day at the track and had a ride on another little boy's petrol 50, and he's like, we've got to get one of these, Dad, this thing's unreal, let's go racing. So I get him one, and we go to Curry for the Curry Masters, and rolls around. He goes up to the start line for the first race. Ming, ming, ming. Old mate picks the 10 board up, 5, gate goes clunk, everyone takes off. He looks around, off he goes. He comes in, I'm like, dude, what happened at the start? He goes, I wasn't ready, didn't know it was time to go. I said, you didn't watch the guy with the board? He's like, nah, I didn't know anything about that. I'm like, you've been at the track half your life, you don't know how the start works. Anyway, then I felt bad I hadn't explained it to him. Yeah. Race 2, not a whole lot better. Comes in, fist pumping, carrying on. I'm like, what are you so happy about? He goes, just beat that kid that beat me in the first one, Dad.
That's right, yeah.
Righto. So then, gets like 5th and 6th all weekend. And then very last race of the weekend, gets the whole shot and just has at it, man. Nearly wins the thing, ends up 2nd.
Oh, wow.
Comes in, he's all stoked. I'm like, what was that all about? He goes, I was focused that time. I said, all right. So then now, and that's the new thing now, because everybody's patting on the back. Oh, good job, Axe, good job. So now he just wants to be that kid. So
That's it. He's got it. He's got
got a taste of it now.
Let him loose.
He's upper.
Yeah, I love it.
So how good's it being a race dad? Like something
I try
that
not to be that guy.
Did you? I don't know. It's sort of a weird thing, isn't it, when your kids get into competitive sports and
Absolutely.
it's a hard balance not to be the wanker yelling at them on the side.
Yeah.
I think Mick cheers for all the other riders more than he charges for his own kid.
Yeah, I'll help
Summersby last year, I was on the hill. You're down near the start gates. No matter who come past, you're there, yeah, give him a hot round of applause. Oh, look at this guy go. He's just a true fan. It was awesome.
I've got heaps of kids that I like and help and support, dude. Like, which is cool. But last weekend we were here, my old man's down here, and Saturday after I get the bike out, give her a wash, whatever. He's like, Jesus, I've never even seen you do this to your own bikes. I'm like, nah, I don't. Two-day meetings is dirty for me too.
And how do you find being a fan? Like, do you like watching Max and Tom racing in America? And well, we're going to see Tomo go and have a crack as well. Like, it's a totally different buzz, but do you still get a buzz seeing people like racing on the big scene and that's all, even at local events? I mean, do you enjoy that bench warming and that sort of stuff?
Yeah, I like watching it, man. I mean, I've got a ton of respect and time for all them guys. Absolutely. Maxie really hits home for me. He's my little dude. I've liked Max. I've known Max for a long, long time, and but I get a kick out of watching them for sure. I watch every round and bit of a sucker for that sort of stuff, really. But anyway.
Are you really sitting there going, I could be kicking their asses, or
you'd have the best haircut out of a lot of them?
No, I've had my time and they're doing it now, and it's super easy to sit on the lounge and be like, oh, back in my day, but it's different. Bikes were different, everything was different. They're doing a great job. So I'm happy for them.
Have you watched I never say it right, Sonora or Daytona, the opening sort of rounds this year? Have you watched the racing?
Yeah.
What do you reckon with the new rule changes?
I think it is and should be better, really, especially the twins thing. I think Daytona was like embarrassing to watch. I'm glad I wasn't there racing that. You get the best guys in the world to go around a flat dirt circle and make them all look like it's the first time they've ridden motorbikes. Like, it's just
the track was terrible.
Dude, it was dog shit. But I mean, again,
but track conditions, we know with our form of racing, that's sort of, you just got to, everyone's on the same track. You got to do the best you can on the day with the conditions. But from my opinion, that twins rule that they've made, that's some of the best twins racing I've seen in years, to be honest. It's a lot closer.
Yeah, dude, Sonoy was wicked. Them boys went at it.
Yeah. I think it's a really good change, and I've got to admit I was really skeptical. I thought, oh no, here we go, it's going to be fucked, but it wasn't. It was. It's been really entertaining, and I think it's going to be an awesome season this year. And it's a shame that Indian. I still can't really get my head around it. Like, they made the best motorcycle, but it was too good. It's sort of a crazy scenario.
Yeah, I mean, Harley had to go to a production engine, and the Indian was complete race bike. Like, it was sort of strange that it was allowed in to start with or whatever. But anyway, it was the best bike, and everyone had a problem with it. You've got to have an Indian or whatever. But okay, well, 10 years prior to that, you had to have an XR 750.
Yeah, that's right.
And it was like that for 30 years.
That's probably easier back then because everyone was on the one thing, and that was it. A couple of different.
Yeah, pretty well.
Since we're talking about change and future, you've ridden one a bit. Stark Varg, electric bikes. Can you see a full electric series at any stage, do you think? I think we're a long way off. I don't know if it's not really the expense. What are they out of the box? About 16 or something, aren't they? Or a little bit more?
I'm not 100% sure. I think they may be 18-ish or something like that, but I don't think they're a lot more than
Yeah,
bike.
obviously, I've talked to a few people that have ridden on them that are good riders, and they said they're bloody amazing. Um, Obviously, the way you can adjust the horsepower, the adjustability, all that sort of stuff. I have also heard rumours of them overheating in our discipline. So, is that a problem? Has it been addressed? Do you know of anything like that?
Well, the first time I got to have a go on one was at Bathurst Long Track, and man, I was blown away with the
That
power
was
it had.
scary.
Unbelievable power. Like imagine, I've ridden some pretty good dirt bikes on long tracks, and it almost doesn't matter how much power you got. You poke the back wheel into the heavy stuff, it sucks the front in like a little bit. Like the bike pulls into the corner.
Yeah.
That Stark would spin the fat dirt like it was on the slick. Like you could do, and it was dead set. Like your brain was connected to the wheel. It was incredible how much fuel you had and how zappy it was and how hard it would go. But they were getting hot, and they were getting hot quick. So that was a problem.
Is that because you've got it wicked on for so long?
Yeah. But think about it, like them 450s are taken off in second gear and then run them in fourth in that big heavy dirt. That thing goes from 0 to full speed in 1 gear.
Yeah, that's right. There's no
And
shift
shovels
delay.
all that dirt, dude. Like what that motor was doing was mind blowing.
So would you think it's the load of the motor that it's been put under is why it's heating up so much? Because I was seeing kids with buckets of ice water trying to pull Kobe Cobb's bike down at Bridgie Cup. And
Yeah.
I'm like, if that goes off between your legs, like your nuts are gone.
No, they turn themselves off. That's what ours were doing.
So they've
at
got
Bathurst. Yeah. So at Bathurst,
So-
they've got a temp sensor in them, and they just shut down.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
But so that they said they're just overheating, and the best way to try and fix that is to make the motor spin slower. So we took some teeth off.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
But that, with how much torque it had originally, taking the teeth off it affected it more than I thought it would have. So, and they were still having the same issue.
It did affect it.
Yeah, more than I thought it would. So we just opted to go with the stock gearing and hope it stayed going or whatever. But they've done an update on them since then where they don't get as hot.
Yeah.
Like it just, I think you get 100% input a little later in the rev range or whatever it is.
Oh, okay. It's not as so violent.
Yeah, which I think they could be great, man. I really do. With some more time and testing or whatever, I reckon they're pretty close. Yeah.
Oh, the technology's there, and the biggest thing that us, motorsport enthusiasts or racers have is noise. So if you can go do the same thing as you normally would without, you know what I mean? It sounded like a vacuum cleaner going past every time you whiz by. It's not going to piss people off at 5 o'clock on a Sunday arvo when you're at your mate's house wanting to have a spin. Like it's it's been the savior of RC stuff as well. You don't really see many little petrol things go anymore. It's all electric and it's all done at night. So it's the way it's going, but it's sort of, it was weird seeing Amy King come past here at a final of an Australian title and you couldn't hear anything. And you were like, I don't know. It's like something was missing there, but yeah, she rode the wheels off that thing.
Yeah, I don't mind the no noise thing. Like I love the sound of dirt bikes, love the sound of twins. But I think if you've got a full field of them, I think it could be just as exciting. I mean, and they do make a noise. That's just not the noise we're not used to,
Yeah, that's what I mean.
And you hear the chain slap and stuff as you're riding, apparently. But
that's what you don't want to hear. You don't want to be hearing shit like that. You don't want to hear
I think that's more
motocrosses,
Tom, than dirt trackers.
You hear me going down the straight going, oh, shit, cramp. And that's it. The whole crowd will know what's going on.
But yeah, I think so they were built to be motocross bikes, really, weren't they? So yeah, they've just got to adjust the technology to be able to handle the way we use them.
Yep.
That'd be about it. Yeah.
Probably so.
Yeah, something like that. Yeah. Yeah, so there are a few other brands of electric bikes. Have you ever ridden any of those? like the Zero, they've been around for ages. They're not the same in performance as the Starkbuck, but yeah, they've been around for a long time. Have you ever ridden one of them?
No.
The Chinese one? Yeah, they do road bikes and they do something that looks really like a DR, actually. Yeah, I can imagine you would have been jumping at one of them.
No, I haven't seen them. I've got a Suron, which I spent a heap of time on.
Yeah. Do you ride that mainly in the bush or?
Axel's got a little RFN, and we just urban moto, man. We just rip the streets and find jumps and stuff, whatever.
Cool.
It's wicked, yeah. Yeah, we spend a heap of time on them.
And with your dodgy knees, you said you did cycling to sort of keep yourself in check a bit. Do you
with your dodgy knees?
Yeah, well, can you handle mountain biking, or is that too
Yeah,
much?
yeah. No, I mountain bike quite a bit too.
Yeah. Well, Tom, mountain biking is a bit, there is a bit of impact involved in that. I wasn't sure.
No, just the way you started that sentence just tickled me a bit.
Well, we did, for transparency, we did ask Mick if there was anything he wanted to avoid, and he said he's an open book. Told me about his
I'm trying
dodgy
to think
knees.
of more controversial questions. I was hoping the Facebook post one about the Aussie titles was going to light him up a bit, but I've got to think of another one now.
Nah.
Actually, I've got one for you. You and Troy Herfoss at the gasoline bar in Melbourne at the Bayless Ballistic Scramble. Yeah, you remember that night?
I had a dog that ran away when I was 7 too. You want to talk about
that?
Is that what you enjoy with fighting over? Or?
No, man. Troy were always buddies, man. And that night I made a joke and he didn't take it as a joke. I realised I was joking or whatever and erupted and got in my face and heated. And I'm like, dude, I'm just kidding. Calm down, chill out. It's all good. Nah. And then he just gave me a mouthful. And another one of our buddies tried to chill it out. He's like, dude, we're all friends. Chill out. Nah. He'd give it to him too. So, and that's cool, whatever. Like, Troy and I have made mates back. I'm not going to rag on the dude.
No.
And so anyway, the next day though, we go back to the track, and we're in heat one.
Showground, wasn't it?
The square one.
Yeah, I was there crewing for Goppy.
Yeah, so we go out and we're in race one, and I think I got the whole shot, and Troy just squares the corner up, dude, drives me in the fence, bus, or takes the line away. I check up, whatever. So then the very next corner, dude, I feed him one back, and then he feeds me one back, and we about tear the fence down, just smashing each other into the fence every corner for the whole race. We're spending so much time messing with each other. Gawley's in our race. Gawley passes the pair of us and walks the dog on us, dude. He beats us by straight away. Me and Herfoss are busy paying Dodgem cars. Oh, shit. We didn't talk for 12 months or so, and then water under the bridge,
Yeah, because I seen you guys talking, and the next thing you know, Herfoss walked over to me and he was smiling. And I thought, all you must have been just mucking around or whatever else, because even Goffy and Lisa were just like, didn't know what was going on. Then that guy rode the Trolls bike onto the bar and did a backflip on a conch on a brick. I was like, holy shit, that was the sickest thing I've ever seen.
Yeah, that was pretty cool.
That was awesome. Yeah. That's it was Josh Pickering, I think it was Charnock, Matt Davies were trying to get me to go to the casino with them afterwards. And I'm looking around going, these boys have just been back from overseas. I'm not going anywhere. I said to Goffy, tell him we got to go, man. This is going to get wild. And I saw him in the morning and I was like, yeah, I wasn't in a good way, eh?
Dude, Matty was some funny shit.
Oh, that would have been. He said to me, that you got to come next time for sure.
Dude, that got loose on the Thursday night. That was funny times. He's got this little sailor hat on, right? And he's got a bourbon in each hand, and he's blind, stuttering his words and slurring and on, and his beard is full of bourbon or whatever he was drinking. And the front of his shirt, man's just covered in drink. And he goes to me, I look like a 3-year-old that's been dribbling on himself all day. And he puts his drinks down, takes his jumper off, and he's got a brand new, fresh, clean white shirt on.
Oh, no.
Here we go. 5 minutes later, man, shirt's just covered.
So it's an absolute menace.
It was a good night.
Oh wow!
We had some disabled lady out of a wheelchair doing wheelies on the dance floor in a chair and all kinds of shit, man. It was funny.
So that was Think last year.
Yeah, that was the Thursday night. Yeah.
Yeah, right. Yeah, so
Not me. I
Think,
was having water in the corner and I was
yeah,
focused.
I'm sure
that's
you
what
were. Yeah.
that's what I figured.
Pissed as
So,
10.
so Think again this year, even though you said you weren't doing Think again, or has Matt gone? Nah, not giving you a bite.
I mean, if I was him, I wouldn't give me a bike, and I'm not. I wouldn't ride it anyway. I'm not going back. Nah. One and done. Stoked I did it. Stoked I did it. Unreal. Super glad I did it. Got me spiked there for me trophy cabinet. And that's all I wanted. Yeah.
When you were racing full time in America, what sort of, because the series was different then, and well, a lot of riders nowadays are calling themselves athletes. As before, probably the early mid 2000s and early teens, they still weren't quite at that athlete. Some people might have still been drinking and smoking before a race and that sort of stuff.
Yeah.
Was that your workout, drinking and smoking, or were you actually, putting off bike training, and were you cycling and running? Or
yeah, I used to I used to train with some hair scramble guys that lived in the same town I was living in. So we'd I couldn't hack the yoga. They used to do yoga one day a week, man, and I couldn't come at the yoga thing. But I'd mountain bike with them and cycle with them, and we'd moto 1 or 2 days a week. And man, we would dirt track back then though. 3 nights a week. Like when I first went over there, I used to travel around with this guy from Tennessee, and we raced everything that could be raced. If there was a meet night, we were there. I mean, we still enjoyed cheap rum Tuesdays and stuff like that. But yeah, we went to most after parties and
explain cheap rum Tuesday. What's that, like happy hour or something?
No, it was just, I don't know how it all started, but we're just at the Suzuki shop. Someone turned up one day with like a 5th handle bottle of rum on a Tuesday. It was like Admiral Nelson or Lieutenant Dan or some shit like that. And so it just started cheap rum Tuesdays. So then every Tuesday, people would just roll in with cheap rum, and we'd all just, and those guys used to road cycle on Tuesday. So I'd usually get back from a road cycle and everyone's there drinking cheap rum. So I'd put on the calories I'd just burn off.
Yeah, well, why not? Yeah, why not? Oh, yeah, well, that was the other thing I was wondering about. They would have been did they race indoor as part of the series then? I think they did have a couple indoor rounds, didn't they?
Yeah, only the 1 year though for me. The whole time I was over there was only one indoor, was at DuQuoin. It was pretty cool.
Yeah. Was that concrete or dirt?
Nah, dirt. We used to go to DuQuoin a few times before Daytona. Like I'd get back over there this probably February or something, and we'd go and do a few DuQuoins, be like snowed out everywhere, and you go to DuQuoin, it's indoors and the pits is inside, and pretty cool. We did Springfield, Missouri a few times, and yeah, the indoors were cool fun, man.
Well, they're where you get to do the cool shit, aren't they? As far as like 2-wheel sliding, lap on, bar down, 2-wheel slide, lap on, bar down. It's where, like you were saying, something spiked in my mind earlier when you were saying, might not necessarily be the fastest way around, which 2-wheel sliding definitely isn't the fastest way around, but it's the best sensation. That's all I could think about when you were talking about that. I wish that was the fastest way around, because I've got a small track out the back at home, and it's something I enjoy doing quite a bit, actually. I still haven't quite got the confidence on the Harley to really push it in, but it feels like I am, so that's good enough. I still haven't dropped that properly yet, so I'm a bit scared. It's scared too. But what's, as far as like the indoor stuff, would you reckon you could never say you enjoy that more than a mile, because they're totally different things, but do you like argy-bargy racing, where you bar to bar really close like that?
the mile stuff always ends up being like, I mean, it's still great and racy and whatever else, but it always ends up being golfing. You know, by the end, those dudes are playing the draft and putting themselves in the right spot, and like basically the race only counts the last 2 or 3 laps. You know what I mean? Like the rest of it's just to get to that point. Whereas short track racing, man, you're flicking that thing on its side and no front brake, obviously, and just getting it on. Like that to me was always the coolest shit. I liked TTs because they had a front brake and I just felt more comfortable on that stuff, and I liked the right hander and jumping. Whereas a lot of those guys then weren't that good at that. I don't think there was only a handful of guys that were sort of decent at TT sort of thing. So
that's why they all moto train now, isn't it? You know, because of the TTs and probably because of Kirknesses and Goffs coming over and showing them how to use the front brake. So
I don't think they changed any of their techniques because of the Kirknesses, that's for sure.
Oh, well, you would have had a heads up on them with the front brake and TTs for sure. I know I've heard a few times in the commentating that mentions. It drives me crazy though. They always talk about Australia, and it's always about the 2118 setup. And now we've got this new series, and even our riders over there don't talk it up enough. It's like every time I listen to an interview, I'm going, "Come on, mention it, boys, mention it." You know?
Yeah. Dude, the first year I ever went to the Springfield TT, and Springfield TT is like they have the short track and the TT like they used to. It's like black gumbo dirt hooked up, like things sticky as, you know, heaps of grip. Anyway, we get there and I'm like, this is my jam. Springfield TT, first go there, I'm like, I'm gonna show these boys what's up today. I was nowhere, like so slow. The track's like basically a short track, but with a right hander in the middle of it kind of thing. So, you know, they're obviously good at doing the left part, way better than I was, obviously. Jared Mees sets fast time, and he says in opening ceremonies, I've really been practicing using my front brake. And I thought, how the hell can this dude be the fastest guy when he's saying that he's been practicing using his front brake? Yeah, he was winning the main event by quite a ways when the front axle broke off. Otherwise, he would have probably won it, I would say. Yeah, but that made me feel bad when I am thinking I can ride a motorbike right, and this dude's been practicing using his front brake to go to a TT. And yeah,
he's an amazing character though. Yeah, what he's achieved, and he just has that grit, doesn't he? He just keeps fucking charging.
He's like the Carmichael of the dirt track world, man. He's the one who came in and trained hard, and
that's right, changed the whole thing. Yeah,
before him it was Springsteen drinking beers and fishing, and you know, like
100%. Yeah.
So the guys that you just mentioned, then, would you put them up on a role model sort of pedestal? Like, did you have when you first went to America? Was there anyone apart from the influences from on any Sunday that sort of were inspiring you? The internet was probably still only really getting traction then, wasn't it? Only just sort of.
Yeah. Dude, I was super impressed by Henry Wiles when I first went over there. And
did you smoke a joint with him?
No.
Weren't that impressed then?
There you go. Take that.
But he was, because I was hanging out with the Suzuki guys, and him and the Suzuki guys had bad blood. So when I got over there, I was like, oh man, Henry's fast or whatever. They give me such a hard time about that, you know, like, oh, Henry Wiles, boo. So, but I mean, Henry was unreal. Jake Johnson is like one of the most underrated dudes there is. He won a couple of singles championships, a couple of overall championships, and that guy wouldn't do anything. Like Jared's training his ass off and whatever. Jake's laying on the lounge eating Taco Bell, playing video games.
Mr. Straight off the couch, I think they said.
Unbelievable. He'd go to the races and be like, "Oh man, I don't really want to be here today. Don't feel like doing this," and win it. You know, like it was crazy. And Cool Beth was the top of his game when I was over there too, and he's super cool, humble dude. Yeah.
It's bizarre how it can work like that, isn't it? It's like some people putting in max effort and still well, getting good results, but not just cruising through life like that.
So Jake's theory was you've only got so much energy in your lifetime, So he didn't want to waste any of his training. He just wanted to use it when he needed it.
This is going to be controversial, but he really sounds like an Indian workmate that I had. They told me he still had 35 years to work. That's why he wasn't going to clean up the gantry.
Oh, right.
Jesus.
Fuck me. Yeah, whatever floats your boat, and it worked for Jake. So yeah, good on. Awesome. Well, thanks so much for coming on, mate, and finally getting on. And I don't know if there's anything you want to say to anybody, or I don't know. Do you still have sponsors? Does anyone bother sponsoring you anymore? Or?
I've still got one more question for you as well, Mick.
Okay.
It's from quite a few years ago, but I'll let you go first if you
want.
No,
away you go.
Do you remember the Bankstown motorcycle show?
Yeah.
And we used to do the flat track demonstration?
Yep.
What did you say to the guy on that V8 dirt bike for him to go, righto, get your helmet and you show me how to do it?
Dude, it's funny, man. This only came up at work like 2 days ago. This guy comes into work the other day, changing a Harley tire for him, and he goes, oh, my young fella rode dirt track, blah blah. I said, oh, what's his name? He goes, oh, mate, we're from Bega. I said, oh, yeah, Tangawankalangalo Speedway or whatever it's called in there. And he laughs. He goes, oh, you been down there? I said, yeah. He goes, oh, said his young bloke's name. I hadn't heard of him. And he goes, nah, mate, I spent most of my time traveling around with the V8 drag dirt bikes. I'm like, oh, dude, I had a go on one of them things one time. And he goes, yeah, right. Whose did you ride? I said, I don't know. I forget his name. This massive, big, tall dude. And he goes, not Stork. I said, that was him, Stork. Yeah, I had a ride on Storks. He's like, I was Stork's crew chief for 8 years. Blah blah blah. So I rode it at Bankstown Motorcycle Expo. He's like, I remember that. So small world, kind of funny. But
I was thinking about that. I think it was not last week, the week before, because I saw the memory come up of I was on Blokes World for like literally a second. One's a photo and one's a clip of me going by. And when I saw that, I'm like, oh, that's right. Kirkness whacked his helmet on and completely lit this drag bike up down the front straight of Bankstown Paceway. And everyone stood there and went, how good can those things stop? And holy shit, because you didn't. I thought he said something to you because you grabbed your helmet, whacked it on, and he sort of laughed until you got to the bike and threw your leg over it. Then his face dropped and your arm dropped.
Well, he goes to me.
He took off. I was like, holy shit.
They were in the pits with their stall set up, whatever, And I went over there. Dude, I was drinking a beer when I went over there to him. And he goes, I had a Corona in my hand and a Corona in my pocket. And he goes, I said, dude, can I have a sit on this thing? And he goes, yeah, mate, jump on. You can ride it if you want. I'm like, righto. And he goes, you want to go on? I said, dude, absolutely. He goes, you'd ride it. And I said, well, it's not every day a dude with a 650 horsepower motorbike offers you a go on. And absolutely, I'll have a turn on it. Anyway, he's like, righto, get your gear on. And after our next session, you can have a blast. I'm like, righto. I go back out the infield, put my gear on. They come out, do their thing, and then they go and pack them up, right? So I walk over there and I said, oi, I thought you were going to let me have a ride on that thing. And he goes, you dead set want to turn. I'm like, fucking earth, if you're offering me a ride, I want to ride. He goes, righto. He goes, it's horrible to steer whenever the throttle's shut. So once you pull the gas pedal, just up. It had a push bike brake lever for the throttle. He's like, so once you pull it on, just give it to her. I'm like, righto. We go out there and they move me down just past where they'd been starting.
Yeah.
And I ride over them start ruts, man, and I'm like, oh, I'm gonna die on this thing. I was so terrified when I went down there. Anyway, I get down and he's like, righto, give it to her. And I go, boss, right, and just feed her. And I come back around and he's like, you're a maniac. I can't believe you just went wide open. I said, dude, you're the only bloke I've ever spoken to that's rode one. You told me that's how to do it. He's like, go again, righto. I must have done 6 passes on that thing.
Yeah, you did quite a few. I was like, holy shit.
Yeah, it was pretty wild.
Yeah, that was.
So is it like riding a brick, or?
Hey?
Is it just like riding a brick? Like you can't turn. You have to stay straight, don't you?
The worst part about it was Stork's like 15 feet tall. So when I laid out with me arms on the handlebars, I could barely reach the foot pegs Like my feet were
right.
almost dangling behind me, sort of thing. Yeah, it was good, but
Oh, so it's probably the closest to being Superman you've ever been.
Yeah. It's
hang
just
on.
stories like that throughout the years sort
Yeah.
of pop up in my head, and I'm like, I've got to ask Mick about all these. I didn't know about your dog when you were 7, but I know about. I got a few other ones as well.
What do you got?
No, well, I might leave those to a day when we're less publicised. Might be less incriminating.
Oh, come on, you can't tease it. That's like, oh, tickle your nuts, and you only just pull the
Just
pull
blows
the
off.
fuse.
I'm only a tickler. I apologise.
Oh, mate.
I kind of thought I was in for a real shocky. I was waiting for the big ones, Northy.
Oh,
Yeah.
like I said, I don't know if I want to pull that kind of ammunition out, because then that's it. It's all on the table then.
He's all mouth, isn't he, mate? You got
I
to get a
reckon
few.
so.
You got to get a few gummies and a
You're
few
more than
rums in them before
you're
he
more than
actually gets
welcome, Mick,
going.
if you want to elaborate on said stories, but I'll be more than happy to listen.
What about we haven't learned about your missus. How did you pick her up? Was that a good one, or was that a bit average?
No, my wife's the best thing that ever happened to me.
Yeah, she's put you on the straight and narrow.
Yeah, I was on a
Yeah.
road to nowhere. Met Kylie at Gosford Speedway, actually.
Oh, so she's from a bike family as well, or?
Well, it's
She
funny.
was-
Her old man used to sponsor the Gosford Speedway back when they used to run Speedway there.
Oh yeah.
And she'd been to different races or whatever. Her younger brother rode dirt track and whatever. But I didn't ever know him or anything until years and years later, which is pretty funny. You know, you've been in the same place as someone a bunch of times and not met them or known them or whatever else.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I mean, it was meant to be old Kirkness one night a thing, and sunk the claws in, kept me around.
Yeah, now she's setting up your laptop. There you go.
Yeah,
Fantastic.
when I asked you on Sunday, and I'm like, "Oh, you do want to jump on the pod?" She was like, "We're away on holiday." I'm like, "Oh fuck, I'm gonna get Bill." I said, "Whenever he's free, whenever you don't want him." I'm trying to look backwards, and Matt's laughing at
You
me.
said the manager gave it the green light, mate. You were lying to me again.
That's why I just, you know what, Darcy can deal with the consequences and the backlash. I'll just be the smiling assassin. Yeah.
Yeah, all good.
I was like, shit,
Yeah, sweet.
I should have booked it informally. It would have been on the website.
I don't know how Mick does those in-person ones. Like trying to get Mick on Kirkness onto this was hard enough. Harry got you in a room to do that talk and chatter. I don't know, it beats me. He must have trailed you in following some beers or something, did he?
No,
With rum.
the honest truth is, though, when you first asked me about this, I'd been speaking to Mick about doing that for ages, and I said I would, and because he'd asked me first, I wanted to do the right thing, and
Yeah. I think you even said that.
Yeah, I knew that. I just wanted to give you shit. I can, why we're not in person, you can't hit me.
When Darcy surprisingly sprung on me that I was the co-host when he was doing my pod, he's like, "How many people do you know in the dirt track world in Australia?" And I just went, "Oh fuck,
most of them.
I've definitely got one." And then we got the two that I wanted on there, but yeah, there's a few more wouldn't mind getting on, but I've got to try and get in contact with their people.
Yeah, well, like I said before, we've got people don't realise how many people are involved in the sport over here. There's a big community, and it does cross over into some of our sister sports, speedway and dirt track, now flat track. Now we've got 3 disciplines, all very similar. And look, it's funny with the long trackers. I used to watch long trackers in New Zealand, and they were always part of the speedway family. So I was a bit surprised when I came over here and they raced against the chook chasers, but we didn't have the kidney bean tracks like that. And it was all just speedway. So and also another thing from this pod I took away is the grading. I joined the Harley Club. I think it was 2010, and purely off inspiration of on any Sunday. I always wanted to race a Harley, and that's sort of why I've got one now. But I ended up on a Husserberg 400 because it would cost me $500. And
Sorry about that.
yeah, it was great in the bush, not so good on the track. But anyway, long story short, yeah, where I thought the whole country did the grading system because the Harley Club run A, B, C,
Yep.
and that was it. Then the first time I ever went to another track and I went to enter, where are the grades? There was no grades. It was Pro 450, MX Open,
Yep.
Vets, and I was thinking, how can one club still have gradings and all the other clubs aren't running grades? It was bizarre. So
Yep.
yeah, I think the problem's been around for a long time.
When
And
did the grading system in Aussie dirt track die off? Because
it must have been then. Yeah.
I still remember seeing what do you call it, programs and things like that with like all the riders in the riders list and then their grades next to it and what classes they were in and all that.
Dude, I reckon it was
Late
early 2000s.
Oh, that far? Yeah. Okay.
Yep.
Fair enough. Yeah.
I think me and Herfos are like two of the last dudes to ever go A grade dirt track.
Oh, through the grading system?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, right.
Mark was on the dirt track commission, I think it was at the time.
Yeah.
And we were like right at the very end of it. And then with the following, it was like, I think he was one of the guys that was pushing for it maybe to continue. And the powers to be were like, oh, why do you guys think you need to be graded to ride around a flat dirt circle, basically?
Well, it goes off by how many you've got riding around that dirt circle and the skill capabilities. It's fucking I remember being in the start line with you once, and I don't even think I watched the gate. I think I watched you, and I've dumped the clutch the same time as you have. I thought that was all right until you hit the front wheel, hit the ground, and went boom. I went, oh fuck! Well, there he goes. I'm not keeping up with that. But yeah, no, it's like lining up against Troy Bayliss at Nepean, at the King of Nepean one year. I'm like, when do you ever get an opportunity to line up against the world champion like that? But in a competitive sense, yeah, I think a grading situation needs to come in. But then again, it's lack of numbers in the meeting to be able to warrant that in a sense, I guess. So
I don't know. I like what the DTRA do. So they put their because of their number issue, they put their inter and their pro class together, and then they do all their qualifying and practice qualifying, and then when it comes to their final, they have A, B, C, D, and E. So everyone still gets a race, but they're in the time zones of that quality of rider. So
yeah.
And they would all still be good finals because it's going to be close racing. It's sort of like the twins, there's nothing too big separating them.
Yep.
And I quite like that idea. I think the RSA will be following something similar to that when I finish that rule package. But
dude, so how imagine this, right? You go, well, it happened. I don't know how long ago it was, but remember the Grand Slam that they had at Tamora?
Oh yeah.
It's $5,000 to win. The Pro 450 class.
Was that the Sultan's slide?
No. Just the Tamora Grand Slam was called. $5,000 to win.
Yep.
And big prize money. We're going to get tons of entries. Well, you get the fast guys that think they're going to win the $5,000, but everybody else is just donating their entry fee to the prize money. Like they're not going to actually win any $5,000, so it doesn't necessarily draw that big of a rider count.
Yeah, that's right.
If you have a C grade class that pays $500 to win it, or $1,000 to win it, you've got more of that group of guys, and you can, you win your C grade, you can have a shot at B grade, or whatever. Like you can race your way up through the day, or however you want to work it. But
even if it's there. I love the grading, but I think some people think it's too hard work, and then you've got to have people doing the grading, all that sort of stuff. So maybe that's why it wore off. I'm not sure, But if you have the meeting where you only have the 450 class and you have an open class for the people that want to bring their CR 500s and people that have got TTs or whatever,
Yep.
But then in the 450 class, which is your main class, you break down the finals. And I don't know how it would work with prize money, but somehow, I don't know, top 4, top 5 are paid in every class. I think that's more inspiring to me to come along and compete and go, look, there's a good chance that I could top 5, even if I end up in C group. I know this
So you're saying
rider's
if you've
probably
got
going to be there. This rider's probably going to be there. Oh, I've beat him before. But if I'm saying, I'm going to be in with Jared Brook and Caution, and I know I'm not going to. Yeah. So I think it would be a lot more enticing.
So you're saying still leave the program the way it runs, but then say the top 10 go to the A final, 10 through 20 go to B final, and 20 through 30 go to that's a good way of looking at it, dude. And still try and make some purse for even those guys.
Yeah, still even if it's covering entry fees.
Yeah, I think that's a fantastic idea.
Yeah, and I sort of think AFTN should be, because that clubman class, in my opinion, it's the same as you've been saying all night. It's only my opinion, counts or whatever. But that clubman class wasn't really fair. You had some pretty full-on good riders in there that were pulling, times that should have had them in a group of the pro class.
And
so
the sad part is there was people in the pro class that should not have been in the pro class.
That's right. So you're doing it that way, qualifying that way, and having the groups split up like that, it just totally sorts that out in my head. How easy it is to put in, and that way too, if you end up getting a lot more entries, I think there's still room for them. They've still got a class. So you just in the UK, they go up to like F. They just keep going. If there's enough riders, they'll have that many finals. And I know Dave and Mick will say, but it's about the schedule and running to a schedule. Well, sometimes you just have to adapt. And we're not at that stage where the schedule's going to blow out that big anyway, I don't think. You might, you might say, okay, we've got X amount of riders. Let's compensate and take practice out and just go straight to qualifying or something. I don't know. There must be ways around it. But yeah, anyway, I'm hoping that we can move along and some change like that will happen eventually. But yeah, I think getting people into a more even fight is definitely part of the recipe that we're looking for. Wow, how's that for an ending, Tom? You ready to go now, or you got another one for me?
No, Nate, I think I might leave it there. I can see the sweat beading across his head. So
I wasn't ready for the tricky ones.
The tricky ones. Oh, I haven't. Yeah.
What are the tricky ones, Mick? You might have to refresh my memory.
Elaborate.
No, I don't know either, actually.
Oh, but what about punch-ups? Like, have you had an actual fisticuffs? Like,
nah.
Oh, that's boring.
It's extremely hard. It's extremely hard to believe that the lip I have never got me bashed up a whole lot more. Dude, I used to travel with Travis Smith, man. He was my dude, and he's basically my personal bodyguard. That dude would rather a fight than a feed. I could go anywhere, say and do anything I wanted, and Travis was there. It didn't matter.
Nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, my late best friend was a bit like that. Well, we're like that for each other, but we're sort of each other's worst enemy all at the same time. Yeah, so you never been banned from a race then? Oh shit, we might have found one.
Oh, here we go. We've struck a chord.
I did have to leave the premises from an event one time. Yeah.
The next question is going to be: haven't been arrested?
Yeah,
twice
right. And it wasn't for punching someone. Oh,
no.
I'm intrigued.
So we're at North Brisbane one time, and I was only 16, and there was a dude there being real rude and nasty to my sister, and my old man grabbed him by the face to ask him about it.
You already justified me. Yeah, someone being rude to my sister, they're going to get it too. Yeah, that's it.
it ended up in a little bit of a deal, which was kind of funny looking back or whatever. And and probably why I've never felt welcome in North Brisbane ever since. But anyway, I don't remember who they were and whatever, but it was just like a little shit fight, and the cops come, and it was like me, my mum, my dad, my brother, and my sister stand there, and the cops come, and there's all this rowdy dude over there, and they just go, "You guys should just roll out." So we just left, and that was the end of that one. Yeah. And the other time I was asked to leave was I failed a drug test.
Yeah.
So we go to Kempsey, and I hadn't raced in a couple of years or whatever, and get everything ready, whatever, go up there, and my name comes out for the drug test, random drug test, super random. So anyway, I go over to do it straight away. I got no dramas. I don't do drugs. I go running over there, and I had a cough, and I took this bottle of cough medicine with me to the thing, and I go, "Dude, I've been taking this. I'll mark it on the sheet." And he goes, "No, don't mark it on the sheet. We'll only mark it down if it shows up." And I go, "Okay, and if it does show up, what happens then?" He goes, "Oh, there's another test we do that shows it's cough medicine, no big deal." I'm like, "Righto, sweet." So I do the drug test in the worst possible environment. They're putting onions on the barbecue, smoking us out, like, so no procedure is followed whatsoever. Anyway, he goes, "Oh, mate, that's shown up." Okay. He goes, "So you'll be out of the meeting." I said, "What do you mean I'll be out of the meeting?" He goes, "Well, because it's shown up that it's in your system." So didn't you tell me there's another test that says that it's cough medicine? He's like, yeah, but we have to send it away for the lab results on that one. I'm like, righto. So fail. I'm getting kicked out. And so anyway,
was that a Cooper or something, or just
that was on a Cooper, yep.
Oh no.
So anyway, he gets I do another sample or whatever, and he puts it in a bag and chucks it in the bag and chucks the bag down there. I'm like, shouldn't you have to seal that? And he goes, "Oh, there's some paper I've got to fill out before I put it in there." And I'm like, "Dude, I'm not going to leave till you've." And he goes, "Oh, what, you think I'm going to tamper with your sample? Give me some credit." I said, "Dude, you're calling me a heroin user. Give me some credit."
Yeah.
So anyway, packed up, marched out, and then like Tuesday or Wednesday, I get the thing back saying all clear, whatever, blah blah. And when I get the email, it says you cannot post or distribute the results or content of the email any further. And I put it straight on my Instagram and Facebook because, dude, I got packed up in front of everyone like I was a druggo.
Yeah.
So I wanted to make sure that everyone knew that I was not.
Yeah, that's right.
And Motorcycle in New South Wales emailed me and threatened to fine me $10,000 if I didn't take it down because it was discriminating to Motorcycle in New South Wales.
Oh, you've got to be kidding. That's terrible.
Yeah.
That's flat out. That is shit.
That was pretty embarrassing.
Is that
100%.
the only?
I've actually got me drug test.
You
Got
got
me cabinet here somewhere.
Oh, we didn't talk about the cabinet.
It's overflowing.
What are all those helmets behind you? What are the helmets from different eras?
So this one here, I can't talk because it's backwards in my thing, but that one there is one that L Punk painted for me. They did the Troy Ballas Classic Perpetual Trophy.
Oh,
and then after I won the first one, they painted one for me. And then this one here is just one that I had painted by a guy in Coffs Harbour who does a good job. And then this one down here is Bayless was wearing this one at Taree when he won that Aussie 450 dirt track title.
Oh, yeah. He won 3 in that weekend, didn't he?
Still got the champagne and everything on it. I was on the podium with him. So I got second, and we sprayed the champagne. I just picked his helmet up and walked back to the pits with it.
And what he did, he was like, "Yeah, it's all yours."
Yeah, he signed it for me afterwards.
Yeah, right.
So that's a pretty cool one.
I just remember sitting in that. I don't know if it was a Carlton dry tent, the truck that was there. I just remember sitting in that and just being so sideways, like.
That one's one that Electronic Brownie painted for me. Yeah, that's the one I had on that day at Gunnedah when I won all 3 in the one day.
Yeah, nice.
And then there's just a couple others down there that are cool.
So where do you keep your medals and all that?
What's that?
Where do you keep your medals and all that? Because you've won 5 Aussie dirt track.
Yeah, I think so.
And one flat track, and how many long track? Or is it 5 all up?
So I've got a bunch of Akuras. This is me 2009 AMA Rookie of the Year, Dirt Track Rider of the Year.
Oh,
yeah, right.
Sick.
Yeah, and then That's where I store the my championship medallions.
You have a go. How many he's got? Shit. One day, Matt. One day I'll have as many as that.
And then I've got like those 3 Aussie ones out in the house, and like a one Burt Munro, you know, the little Burt Munro trophies you get.
Yeah.
And then me 2 AFTN rings.
Have you seen the footage? Have you seen the footage of that of Mick racing the Burt Munro Supermoto? Darcy?
No, when did you do that? What year did you do that?
If you can watch the footage, watch the last corner.
I think it was 19.
The last corner was just,
right.
I don't give a shit.
Dude, I was not going all the way over there to not come home with one of them trophies.
Oh, mate, I tell you what, I think they saw you coming and went, fuck that. Just let him go.
Was
you got to watch it, Darcy. You just be
what's
like,
the New Zealand What's the New Zealand motocross's name? He was racing at the years I was there. I can't think of his bloody name. Yeah, was he racing against you?
No.
Johnny
Johnny Rax and I battled for the.
Yeah, I'm not sure who Johnny is. Yeah.
He rides for Southland Honda.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Does he do super bikes and stuff?
No, he just does the beach race. They spend a bunch of money and make the bike fast.
Oh, right. Yeah, okay.
And just does the beach race pretty much. I think he's a motocross guy.
Yeah, right. So, did you do a bit of everything, or you just did the street race?
Done the hill climb and the beach race, and the main thing was the beach race. That's what we went to do. And friggin' had a little shit fight and broke the bike. Not broke it, but had to pull out. Oh, yeah, and the beach was torture that year, man. It was like the water stayed way up, so the beach was super skinny, and it had these big corrugations in it every like meter. And the wind was blowing about 1,000 miles an hour, so you hang way off one side of the bike, and then go back to the other side. It was the worst. It was so bad. And we'd made a fuel tank that goes under the bar clamp bolts.
Yeah.
And because it was so shaky, it come loose and come out. And I'm racing down the beach, and I'm like, man, that thing was held in by the handlebar bolts, like from the bottom, you know?
Yeah.
The bar mount bolts.
Yeah.
And I'm like, that means they're loose. And I'm going along, and it was so rough and just gnarly as I'm like, man, if these handlebars come off, I'm fucking dead.
Yeah.
And so I pulled in, and one nut was completely gone. The other one was like a half a turn left, and it was gone too.
It was all over.
Yeah.
No.
Oh, well, that's what's kept you on 2 wheels for so long. That smart thinking.
Just a lot of fight from now on.
It's a pretty sick event, though, isn't it? Like, will you? I don't know. It could be teeing you up here. Would you consider going across to do the flat track now? They have flat track at the Burt Munro.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
I'd
like to go back. I'd like to go back to the Burt Munro because I feel like I got unfinished business on that beach, man. And I would definitely do the flat track. And that thing that Matt went and done last year too. I'd like to go to that. It looks unreal.
Clay Classic.
Yeah, track looks rad in a beautiful spot.
Yeah.
No, all the racing's good at home, actually. It's just a good place to be, and a bunch of blokes, you know.
Well, those guys were, man. Do you know those guys from Southland Honda? Jeremy Holmes?
not really. Actually, my brother bought a Southland Honda bike by accident. He sort of. I went and did 2 years in a row, and my last year, he said, I'm going to buy a bike and come and race against you. And, sweet, because it's, nothing better than beating your older brother, which I did. So fucking suck that, Dave. But it was a really decked out bike. And the announcer, I can't think of the guy, he does the Supercross. I can't think of his name, Daryl something. He was the announcer every year, and he was going, "Oh, it's great to see Southland Honda back." And my brother's going, "No, it's just got all the stickers on." I hear that they do put a bit of money behind stuff.
Yeah, top people.
Yeah, well, I only had a 04 YZ450 on the beach and on the sprint track, and it sucked only having 4 gears, Mick. But it was still a lot of fun. It's still a lot of fun. But the street racing, it's a shame they're not going to do that anymore.
They're not?
No, the street racing's done, from what I understand, insurance and all that sort of stuff. And,
right.
Unless they go back out of town. Is that what Jobbo was saying, Tom? They were talking about going back out of town, but
Yeah, I'm not 100% sure. That was a little while ago.
Yeah,
it does ring a bell, though.
but yeah, all our listeners will be sick of the story. But I originally went to go over because they had long track on the trotting track, and bought the ticket and everything, and they cancelled it because they had a bit of a row with the trotting track over the fee, apparently. So
Right.
yeah, that was a shame, real shame, because I think that would have been awesome. But maybe I'd love to say 2025 might be my year of going back.
Yeah.
I think Herrick's going to go, isn't he? Isn't that the plan?
I think he's doing the Clay Classic and the Burt, but it hasn't been formally announced or whatever else. So I think he's going to see how he goes overseas first.
Yeah. Yeah, so there could be a few. I know Jim Joplin wants to go back and has the ball. But we don't have to worry about him, Mick. He'll be pissed. So
So can you tell us a
not that
story
you have
about
to,
the
anyway.
that supermoto race that you did at the Burt? Can you tell us about the last lap?
Oh, dude, the last race was hectic. So I took slicks with me, and we get to the street race, and it's piss and rain. I only had slicks.
Oh,
so I qualified with slicks on in the rain, like both feet out, wobbling around, and it wasn't a progressive grid, so I had to start from the back all day.
yeah.
And I forget exactly what the situation was. I either got wet and it dried, or it was dry enough for me to race on slicks, and then it got wet again and I borrowed a wet, or however it went. But we needed to change the back tire right before the last race.
Yeah.
And I knew before I left home that the rim I had, for some reason, it was hard to make the tire pop onto the bead. Anyway, we're thrashing, can't get it, right? And then they're like, close the pit gate, miss the race. And right when that happens, it goes, thoo, thoo, and the tire pops onto the bead. I'm like, anyway, that's such a shame. I got the shits a little bit. It's freezing cold. That whole week was freezing cold this year.
Yeah.
And anyway, they come tearing past out of the start of the race, whatever. And then 10 seconds later, this dude comes running over to our pit, flat out waving his arms. They've red flagged it. We're like, shit. I start whacking my gear on. They go to jam the wheel in, and the spacer has fallen out and rolled onto the car next to us.
Oh.
This dude just dives in under the car, dude, on the wet tar, throws the spacer out. They jam the wheel in. Wah, fire the bike up, take off. Jeremy owns the bike, and he's yelling out, cold tires, no tire pressures. And I'm like, yeah, like, doesn't even matter, man. We're going
just
out.
off, yeah.
So the pack comes back past the pits on the warm-up lap, and I just pull into the pack behind him and go around and line up in my spot. And yeah, basically, I wasn't going home without one of those Burt Munro trophies. And I was charging as hard as I could go. And then last lap, we come into the last corner, which was around a roundabout.
Yeah.
And there's a lapper in front of us, and the lapper is like way up near the roundabout, and the dude behind him is like the leader, and I'm third. Well, second. I'm second, but there's a lapper coming. Anyway, we come up to the corner, and old mate's just going to follow the lapper around the roundabout, and I'm like, oh my god, he's following him. I'm thinking in my head, as I'm coming up, he's going to follow him. So I just get to the inside, dude, and just smoke him. I go past the guy who's leading the race and hit the lapper, and the lapper tips over, and the dude who was leading runs into the lapper, and he tips over, and I win.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, there was carnage. And I'm thinking, if you don't tell about the carnage, I'm going to go, hold on a second. Didn't you have a little bit of a side sight with the
did they protest you about your colour of your number plate? Or
no, but the funny thing is, when I come back in the pits, everyone's like, oh man, we can't believe you knocked so and so down. Like, nobody liked this guy that I knocked down, apparently. Everyone's patting me on the back. Oh, good job knocking such and such down. I'm like, I didn't even know who he was, man. I just wanted my little Burt Munro trophy.
That's it.
It's a sick event. It sounds like, I think 2019, it was still in November then. Can you remember?
I feel like it was super early in the year.
I must have gone to February already then. Yeah,
it was freezing.
In November it would bloody rain all the time, so they changed the date, and I think that might have been the first year, and the bloody rain.
And dude, it was like flooding. You couldn't even get there.
Yeah. Oh, really? Oh,
yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, crazy. Yeah, I think they've had the last few have been a lot better weather-wise, but yeah, it is. They call it the butthole of New Zealand, so it's right down the bottom. So she gets pretty cold there, but that would have been in the right in Invercargill, that street track.
Yeah.
So sort of industrially.
Yep.
Yeah, no, that was a good one. The original one, which is just out of town, They both were good, but I think that the other one was slightly better. It had a really cool chicane in it that you just line it up, you just go straight through it, but then you're like riding the wall or the hay bales, and everyone's leaning on the hay bales, and you feel like you're going to smack them in the face with your elbow. It was fantastic. And I was nowhere near as fast as the top guys, but it still was a buzz. Yeah. Yeah, there was good footage of Josh Coppins doing a similar move, but he didn't knock anyone off. He was bloody close. I don't know how he didn't knock him off. It was just so when you come out of that roundabout, I think there was it sort of narrowed up or something before the last corner before the pits. Yeah. And there was two guys there, and he just fucking. It looked like he was sizing it up and thinking for half a second, should I do it or not? And he just goes, "Fuck it." The gap was getting smaller and smaller. He just
between them
straight through. Oh yeah. I actually where that last turn is, I actually fucked that up because I was chasing my brother because he got around me, and I fucked that up and went over the hay bales. I flipped my dead man switch, came undone because you got to wear a dead man switch. I flipped.
Mine wasn't connected to anything.
Holy fuck. And anyway, I sort of span over the bales and landed on my feet, and it just caused a whole Mexican wave, like along that whole fence.
Yeah.
That's probably one of my best racing memories ever. And yeah, everyone just went, oh, that. All righty. Well, what time do you have to get up for work, Mick? Because I've got to get up at 5 o'clock. Tom's going to say, Tom says he's going to get up at 4, but I reckon it's bullshit. He says he's getting up at 4 every day, and then his little notification bar says he's still up at midnight.
Is there a 4 in the morning?
Yeah. You normally go to bed, you vampire.
Nah, dude, I'm early to bed.
Yeah, you're a nana now.
Old Mick, I'd be disappointed.
100%. Old Mick still owes me 3 toys new that you stole off me from Curry Speedway. That was about 15 years ago.
Have you got any golfing stories yet?
Golfing stories?
Yeah.
Oh, not really. No.
Yeah, then you're not retired. Yeah. You're still a racer.
Definitely a racer.
Yeah, beauty. So what's the next event, Mick? We're going to see you.
I don't know, probably anything junior now for a bit. Take the boy.
Yeah. Well, hold on. The New South Wales dirt track titles is junior and senior, so
yeah, might have a run there.
Axe to win one, and you can slip in and see if you can win the other one.
I never thought of that.
There you go, father and son.
That's probably.
I hear a Kirkness Davies challenge in that.
Are you buying a sidecar, are you?
Nah, I should borrow one, but shouldn't I?
100%.
No, I think my dirt track sidecar days are done.
Nah.
Yeah, and I was thinking, surely Matt's got a few 2-wheel Huskies lying around he could jump on.
Well, he was threatening me with a bloody 450 Honda. I said, righto, let's do it. He's like, you're 6 months too late, mate. Sold it. It's over.
Oh, no.
No mentions of a twin in the AFTN?
For him or for me?
For you. Did you ever ride twins in America?
That. Absolutely.
You did?
Yeah.
Was that the last couple of years? I feel like we're missing a whole lot, Tom. You see that we're coming armed with a heap of questions for Mick about this American stuff.
No, I just wanted to hear the shenanigans. Don't know about the rest of it. The rest of it I've probably heard before. It's the it's the after hour.
Oh, you want to hear about the electric cowboy in Little Rock, Arkansas?
Does it involve twins? I want to hear about
it. Yeah, it does involve twins.
Just the blonde and brunette variety.
No, native.
I'm not saying nothing because his missus knows what I look like and she'll punch me.
Yeah, well, we've never met and I'm in Mexico, so I'm safe.
Nah, she's cool.
I rode twins from 08, I think. Well, maybe I had to ride them on in 07, but then 08 I did basic expert, and then 09 was me GNC rookie expert year. So I rode twins 09, 10, 11, 12. Yeah. And then all X Games for me was twin and yeah. And then the last when I went over there 17 and 18 was it 17 and 18? Yeah, 17 and 18 was all twins then for the big boys class. So it was like I did Peoria and Rapid City and what's the TT in Sturgis? It was in the
Buffalo
bar.
Chip.
I forget Buffalo
the
Chip.
Buffalo Chip. Yeah.
Yeah, that was sick. I like that one. Yeah, I watched that a couple of times actually.
Yeah, it was sick. I did that on XR 750.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Oh, I have to watch that again. Yeah, those things they jump a lot better than most people would imagine. Are you getting called to bed?
No, she just heard me talk about Buffalo Chip TT and poked her head around the corner. Maybe she thought I was talking about eating buffalo chips. I don't know. No, Buffalo Chip was rad. And jumping, that was my boy's first race he went to over there actually. Jumping XR 750s wasn't that good ever.
Yeah, was that just the whole package? I'm guessing.
I don't know.
Weight wise, and
Henry's Kawasaki at the time was pretty cool. They had it basically a motocross bike, you know.
Yeah, right. How's that? How'd they have it basically a motocross bike?
It looked like a KX 450, but with a Cowie twin motor in it.
Oh, right.
Yeah, it was obviously, you know, their frame and everything else, but it looked pretty cool. He won Peoria on that thing a couple of times, I'm pretty sure. I think they tore the oil filter off at Landon at Buffalo Chip that night, actually.
Oh shit! Not enough stubby callers around it, I reckon.
Yeah.
Was that the one Carmichael was at drinking in the bar and they interviewed him?
Quite possibly, I'm not sure.
He was Cactus, wasn't he?
Yeah, he was.
He was pissed as 10 men.
Yeah, no, I think that's why I rewatched it. Just to see his interview.
A drunken Ricky.
Yeah, no, it's good. Classic. All right, well, yeah, I've tried about 4 times, but we're gonna wrap this one up and go and get our beauty sleep, and we'll catch you around the track somewhere, whether you're on a twin, KTM 50 or whatever it is. It'll be good to watch you throw a leg over. So what were you gonna say, Tom?
Nothing, not a damn thing. Letting you sign off.
Yeah, but to all our listeners, you know what to do. Flog that like button. Keep it sideways. Till next time, go Flat Tracker.
Thanks, guys.
Go Flat Tracker. Go Flat Tracker. Go, go, go.